Hey cuties, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark, and we are of course going to be watching former reality TV swinger found dead after hiring Hitman to kill her rich husband, obviously by Rotten Mango. I wanted to say Stephanie Sue because it's been so long since we've just been doing Stephanie stuff. We haven't done a Rotten Mango video like this of like a case, I feel like, in quite a long time. So the last thing was the interview with R.A.D, but that's not like one of these videos where we're talking about an incident and whatnot. So she just uploaded this. This was like 4 hours ago, so she probably uploaded this at 12 p.m. my time. So I just figured, might as well do this today since she just uploaded it. It's a day I do R.A.D anyway, so I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't have anything else planned, so it's like, sure. Rotten Mango time. No hater segment because we haven't got any hate comments. I don't know if I'll do a radical break. I know we did one last time, or the last Stephanie video, I think, but I don't know if I'll do one now. We'll have to see. This video is an hour and a half long, so maybe. Yeah, we're probably just going to get into it. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, I did slightly modify the UI here for the radical video. The box down there is bigger. We got the time in the corner down there, just in case nobody noticed.
Bada bing, bada boom.
During the Olympics, if you ever watch the equestrian games, you're looking at a lot of science inside the horse.
Equestrian games? I don't think I've seen horse stuff before in the Olympics, and I don't think I haven't watched the Olympics since I was a kid, so if I even did watch it back then, I would probably more so watch the X Games than the Olympics.
The horses are the science. They are fine-tuned like cars. I mean, they're basically Formula 1 cars, but alive and breathing, and that's, horsepower. They are genetically tested. They're bred to make sure that they are well-bred, that they're well-fit for the games that they're entering. One lab testing that you can get done on a horse is for the speed gene. It's a very specific gene. If a horse has this specific gene, they are going to be more predisposed to develop what they call the fast twitch muscles. They're perfect for the sprint, but they're not going to be endurance horses. So the genes of a horse can even tell you if a horse is going to be predisposed to liking dirt or turf, which is very important. The lab says some clients will even have their horses tested as soon as they're born. Then they can just map out a plan for all of their individual horses, which trainer they're going to go see, which type of sport they're going to specialize in. And there's a lot of specialties. There's a lot of different ways you can look at a horse. I mean, obviously, I'm not just talking from like an ophthalmology standpoint. Let's start with English writing. You have dressage, often called horse ballet. It's how a rider is able to guide their horse through a complex movement performance. It's an Olympic sport. It's all about the grace, the control of the horse. If you are me and you are uncultured and you watch this on TV during the Olympics, it looks like the horse
didn't we?
Yes, it's doing like a little dalliance, like a little dance.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen these dancing horses before. Though where is this going to go to, since this is a video about a former reality TV swinger, which I don't know who they're talking about or who this could even be. Though now that I'm thinking about reality TV, I need to do the Tila Tequila video that she has somewhere. I'm assuming it's a Stephanie video. I need to go do that. And then like something about Hitman. I didn't discuss the title for this video. Is crazy, right? This lady tried, or maybe even succeeded, at getting her husband eliminated, but then also got eliminated, question mark? I mean, we don't know, because I guess this title isn't descriptive enough, because it could just be she tried to have a hit put on him, but then she was the one who actually got hit.
Like a little tippy-toe dance. That's what it looks like. The horse is galloping in place. It looks like it's just skipping in place, which, side note, when they skip in place, the horse appears motionless at certain points, but that is exerting an enormous amount of energy on the horse because trotting in place defies the laws of motion for a horse. It actually is like physically very difficult. They're probably sweating from trotting in place, and I'm just like, look at him, look at the tippy-toes. That's what it is. These horses have to train for like minimum of 8 to 12 years to do the tippy-toe dance.
Wow.
That's dressage. Then you head into show jumping. That's where the horses and the riders, they have to clear a course of obstacles. They look like fences without knocking them down. It's about speed. It's about clearing the rounds, although most most of them look incredibly graceful, I will say. But with any equestrian event, there has to be a lot of trust and relationship established between the horse and the rider. Show jumping, with that being said, so elegant, so graceful, so beautiful. I could never do that. If you've never seen it, I'm just gonna give you a visual in your head for the audio listeners. You know when you have the dog competitions and you have the dog like jumping through the obstacle courses? It's like that, but you're on the Australian Shepherd's back. But also, your outfit is great. It looks good. It looks artistic. I'm uncultured. It's the only way I can describe it. The third of the English disciplines is called eventing, where you do dressage, show jumping, cross country. Cross country is essentially American Ninja Warrior, but on a horse. You go through like a full outdoor obstacle course. You've got logs in ditches of water. You've got water features that complicate the horse, and horses get spooked very easily. So you have to make sure that they don't get spooked, and you get penalized for refusals. That's when the horse is like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. You get penalized for that. You get penalized for falling, obviously. Or interestingly, you get penalized for going too fast or too slow. I didn't know that was a thing, but you have to be in the sweet spot of allotted time. You actually get penalized if you're faster than that allotted time. Every second faster than that little sweet spot time, you have a penalty.
Why is that?
I think that they're also trying to prevent reckless, dangerous acts on a horse.
Huh.
Sure. So saying like what they're already doing seems too reckless, because if that horse messes up and breaks a leg, then I don't know, it's probably going to be put down. I feel like that's the like dark stigma of horses, is if they goof up once, they get put down and turned into glue. Question mark. I know that sounds pretty rough, but I mean, these horses are literally getting turned into glue if they don't, not necessarily if they don't perform, but if they actually hurt themselves. Like if they break a leg or something, they're going to be potentially put down. At least that's how I see it, or at least what I assume is happening. But that's just what the industry seems like it is. Like it's actually really, I don't know if we can say evil, but we'll just use the word evil. It's like pretty evil, you know? If you push a horse too far and they hurt themselves, they're like no use to you anymore. So you, like I said, you get rid of them. I guess unless they're like a stud or something, then you would use them for that. But otherwise, glue, question mark.
By going too fast, and it's about like the agility and the consistent speed instead of just like bursts of sprinting through. So they're looking for a lot of different things.
These sports, how much of that is the horse doing the sport versus the person on top of the horse?
Both. So there are really, really good riders, but the horses, that's why horse juice for reproduction is one of the...
What did you have to say, juice?
If you have a really well-bred stallion, if you have a really well-bred show horse, their specimen to procreate other horses can be very expensive to purchase. So it's all about the horse lineage and also the rider.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of both. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I think the Western ones are a little bit more fun. So the Western riding disciplines and competitions, you've got reining. This is about the athletic prowess of the horse. So it's dressage, but kind of more rodeo level. I mean, it's all about how a horse can do a series of patterns, sliding stops, spins, flying lead changes. One Redditor says, it primarily focused on moving your horse with very little hand movements. The focus is on using your seat and your legs almost exclusively to control this horse. And the energy is different. It appears that it's taking place inside like a dirt pit in a stadium. And I love horses. I think they're so majestic. I have an irrational fear of sustaining a brain injury on a horse, but other than that, I feel like they're smarter than me. However, when you watch this for the first time, all I can compare it to is like when your dog has the zoomies and they're zooming and they're like skidding to a stop and you're on top of the horse. That's what a lot of the Western competitions look like. And I'm sure it takes a lot of skill. And then you have, interestingly, I mean, you also have like the equestrian events that are more focused on the rider, about how the...
It's weird calling them Western and European. What the heck? European, right? Is what you're saying? Because I feel like European is so Western, but Western as in like a country almost. You should rodeo. I should just say rodeo style rather than Western, which I do live in Texas, by the way. So the this is rodeo month. I don't think the rodeo started. I think it's a few more days into the month before rodeo starts. But yeah, if you did not know, Texas rodeo starts in February, at least where the part of part of Texas where I live, which is San Antonio. Let me just look up to see when the rodeo is coming. It starts on the 12th. I have the website pulled up so we can just like come over here. See, it starts on the 12th. And I guess this is all the performers who are going to be there at the rodeo, the stock show and rodeo. And then all the way from there. So yeah, it's from the 12th to the 28th, which it's weird because I'm assuming all these country singers, Sheryl Crow's down there towards the end. But then Ludacris is on the 27th. What is he going to do at the rodeo? Does he have country songs? Last time I checked, I didn't think he sung country. So again, maybe just it's easy to book Ludacris. There's like we need a slot for the 27th, so let's throw Ludacris in there because he's cheap. Maybe he's cheap. I don't know if he is or not. But again, the 12th to the 28th is the rodeo over here.
The rider is able to control their horse. Then you have like the show horse events where it's really just about the horse itself and their breeding and their stance and all of that, as well as horse show performances. Cavalia. It's like Cirque du Soleil meets horses. Acrobats on a horse. I mean, these are just a few shows in sports that horses are the center of. And of course, sports like polo. I can't forget polo before everyone gets mad at me. This is a field that's 3 football fields.
Yeah, that's really big. Like, what the heck?
These horses are like 1,000 pounds, even though they're called polo ponies. They're not ponies, they're massive horses. And the riders have to use these little mallets to hit and aim at this tiny white ball. Each polo pony is going like 30 miles per hour. All their tails have to be wrapped so that nobody's equipment or their tails don't get tangled with each other, causing injuries. It's a very dangerous sport. Most elite polo players have at least 10 polo ponies for one match. They swap through the ponies in one match because a few minutes of polo ponying, the pony is tired. And they have to fly these horses in from all over the parts of the world when they have a polo match. But
I feel like this is too dangerous. Again, all I can think about is the glue factory, and it's like, this is how many of these horses are getting sent to the glue factory because they got injured in one of these competitions because they're going too fast. They're gonna hit another horse and then crash and then tumble and probably break something, question mark, and then they're just gonna get sent to the glue factory. Like, it just seems like too dangerous. We can't be doing this.
Here's an interesting detail. Sometimes the polo ponies are all the same. Not the same breed, not the same look, but genetic carbon copies, genetic clones of each other.
What do you mean?
Are they actually cloning it?
Ponies.
Yeah, I mean, we do clone animals, so... Or cloning pets, so it makes sense that they might actually clone a horse, if it's a good horse, if it's the best horse, that they would clone a version of it. Though, is there any sort of, like, mutations in doing that? Like, doing that too many times? Are you cloning the same cell over and over again? Are you using a clone to then make another clone? There has to be some sort of... is eugenics the right word for this? I don't know. I don't think that's the right word. But some sort of genetic mutation from cloning too many times down the road from the same... Not from the same thing, but from clone to clone. Like, if you don't have the original anymore and you have to use a clone to make a clone, if you could even do that, I would assume it would eventually become just unusable. You get some sort of like abomination eventually.
Lab made.
Lab made from some of the best polo ponies. They cloned them.
That's crazy.
There's one top player, and he's from Argentina, I believe, and he has 6 of the same exact pony, genetically speaking. They are...
This is just dystopian, right? Like, we're looking at 6 of the same horse clone. I don't know how much of, like, quote unquote the same horse actually, like, what that actually means, but is that not just some sort of like man-made horrors beyond our comprehension? Question mark. Like 6 of the same being existing right next to each other.
He has 6 clones. There's a lot of drama there. I mean, some people believe eventually polo is going to be a game of who can clone horses the best, rather than who can play polo the best. Other people think it's becoming even more expensive to learn the sport of polo. There's a lot of drama, even who has the rights over each clone. There's so much drama. There's a lot of scandals. It's very...
I'm guessing her husband is a polo player, since we're going so in-depth into horse riding.
Complicated story where players are now saving genetic samples of their horse's skin in cryogenic storage chambers. The horse world is crazy.
Yeah.
It seems like each division of equestrian sports, the horse world, they've got their own fair share of scandals. And for Valitar, this is a horse show in California, they have a lot of scandals. The owners of the horse show, Valitar, are this wealthy couple. They're pretty conventionally attractive as well. It's kind of important later, but they're the Remleys. The Remleys look like your standard rich couple from San Diego.
Standard? Did you see that woman's face? Hello?
It's kind of important later, but they're the Remleys. The Remleys...
Is that not just... I mean, even him, too. Is he just not, like, 2 of the most evil-looking people you've ever seen? Question mark? I mean, not really evil, but maybe mischievous? But the woman on the left, she looks just mischievously evil? Question mark. He might just look... I don't know... like fake facade face hiding evil? Question mark. So he's actually like really evil, maybe more evil than her, but his face is just kind of like I don't know. They both something wrong with this.
look like your standard rich couple from San Diego. Mark
Quote unquote standard.
Renly, the husband, he's a bit older. He looks very fit, but in a nerdy way. I don't know how to describe it. He looks fit in the way that Jeff Bezos looks fit. Like, you remember Jeff Bezos as a bald nerd, and then now he's like jacked and bald, but you can just tell it just doesn't sit normally with him. Like, he just doesn't move like he's always been fit his whole life.
Like genetically modified.
Exactly. Like, it just doesn't feel like, it just feels like a little weird. I don't know if it's the best look on him. Mark Renly looks fit the way Jeff Bezos looks fit. And then you have the wife, Tatiana Renly. And Tatiana, she's blonde. She's got a Sports Illustrated model cover body, and she's also the star of the Valatar horse show. She's an equestrian. She's a writer. They
Okay, she's the writer.
$1 million into the show, and they lose every single penny of it. I mean, the list of Valatar scandals goes on, but it includes horses get abandoned with nothing to eat, performers quit over massive creative differences over Tatiana. Later, the owners are known to be swingers at a club that a lot of celebrities attend, and this is not necessarily a scandal, but that was more of an interesting side quest. And former staffers will come out to say more or less, Tatiana doesn't even know how to ride a horse.
Their horse show, what exactly do they do? Like, which branch of the
It's like
division?
Cavalia.
Like, why are you doing this if you don't know how to do it?
They are acrobats on horses. Cirque du Soleil meets horses.
So it's like performance.
Yes.
Not like a competition.
No.
I see.
And Tatiana doesn't even know how to ride a horse well. And you're supposed to be doing a handstand on a horse that's galloping around the atrium. But the
How has she not broken her neck then?
biggest scandal to come out of Valatar has to be the decapitated horse head on the
What?
Renly's marital bed.
What? I mean, I was not expecting that. This whole horse, like, discussion at the beginning just to lead to the mutilation of a horse?
Not
Like, what the
really.
heck?
Oh God, okay.
Okay,
And it
okay.
happened.
Okay, it's fake head.
But it's not a real horse head. It's a decapitated horse head from one of their very expensive horse statues that they have in their front lawn of their $5.5 million house in Del Mar, California.
That's
in
fine.
San Diego. And it's clearly not a mistake. It's not like one of their housekeepers accidentally knocked over the statue while sweeping, and in a moment of panic, they placed the decapitated horse statue head on the couple's bed, changed their government name, ran off to a new state to start a new business. That is not the case here. This is a targeted message. This is a threat. And by the end of it, one of the Renlys, one of the founders of the Valatar horse show, will be dead.
Oh, I forgot that we have the intro. I wasn't even expecting the intro to pop up, but of course, this music here is copyrighted, so I have to mute it while it's playing in the background. Is there going to be any ads for this? Like, sponsored by yada yada yada?
Thanks to today's sponsors who made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the National Immigration Law Coalition. NILC is one of the leading advocacy organizations in the U.S. dedicated to advancing and defending the rights and opportunities of immigrants and their loved ones. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. A few disclaimers: there are mentions of potential CA, religious trauma, though very brief, and additionally, mental health.
I'm trying to figure out, like, what the heck CA is. I think I do. Like, it's abuse, I'm guessing.
Conversations. So please take care of yourself, and if this becomes too much, take a break, and we will see you in the next one. With that being said, let's get started. When it comes to the ultimate fantasy, the saying is, no two are the same, right? That doesn't apply. Everyone has similar fantasies and interests, apparently. You like watching your partner have intimate relations with somebody else in front of you? Yeah, so did Diddy, okay? Get in line.
What is Stephanie's obsession with the chair? She brings up chair talk so often that I'm starting to be concerned that she is into some sort of chair nonsense. Because she talks way too much about the chair. Like, I don't know. What's like the percentage? Like 50%? Every other video, she's talking about the chair, bringing up the chair. Like, I don't know. I feel like Stephanie's poorly disguised interests are showing up way too much.
For the chair. There's lots of people. Now, the usage of
She also just said chair
in
too.
front of you. Yeah, so did Diddy, okay? Get in line for the chair. There's lots of people. Now, the usage of ropes, there's a whole community built on the art of tying rope on somebody.
Yeah, it's called shibari or whatever.
However, even if you have this super niche
Is shibari? I know what it is. Like, I feel like that's not what it's called though. Even though I should know what it's called. I just made sure to look that up right now to make sure I wasn't saying something crazy. But yeah, shibari. Again, I already knew what that it was. I've talked about it before. I think whenever it was brought up before, like in a video that had to do with tying somebody up.
specialized interest where you think there's no tying rope on somebody. However, even if you have this super niche specialized interest where you think there's nobody else that has the same fantasy as I do, they are ready, such as watching Lady Antoinette do the bounce on a champagne bottle, a historical figure from France do the bounce on a champagne bottle. If you have thought about that extensively at night and it keeps you up, you are not entirely alone. And there's
I have not, and she has to be lying. There's no way.
someone here to make it happen for you. The Sanctum Club. This is the place where nothing legal is off the table. There are lots of places where you can go and watch your partner have intimate relations with someone else right in front of your face, but none of them are like the Sanctum Club. That's what all the Sanctum members will tell you. Sanctum Club is an elite sex club in Beverly Hills that has been called half pagan sex cult, half entertainment mogul after party sex club.
Wait, say that one more time. Half what?
Yeah, some people think it's like a pagan sex cult. It's like not super religious.
Oh.
Or
I mean, it clearly has to be a cult.
half entertainment mogul after party sex club. So where all the Hollywood directors go after the Oscars and they watch everybody do the bounce. Okay, that's
Stuff that's in the news currently.
like, which one is it? We don't know.
Is it
up to
still
you.
operating?
It is still operating with new owners.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, one of the members bought out the club and they operate it. I did go on, like, I fell down a rabbit hole on Reddit. Some people say it's past its prime time. So there's like lots of debates of which club. And I think they do a lot of more parties and events in New York. And then I went down the whole rabbit hole and they said, the best parties in New York are the ones that you need an invite to that nobody really knows the club name. Anyway. Okay, it's up to you to decide which is a more fitting description for a sanctum. You usually don't even know who's going to be in attendance beforehand. You have to give up your phone at the door. You have to sign an ironclad NDA before going in. The only reason that we even know about this club is, well, for how secretive they are, they've got a whole season of a reality show.
What? I'm guessing this is why this is former reality TV swinger. I guess she was on this show, 17 to 18, 2017 to 2018, on Showtime.
Online, readily available to watch, and we're going to get more into that later because Tatiana and Mark Remley are on the show.
Okay.
That plus a few writers and a few column writers, journalists were allowed inside and were able to describe the party without mentioning any specific guest. Each party is different. Each crowd of attendees is different. But for each party, you have a group of devotees. These are the performers that work for Sanctum. That's what they're called. They are the erotic theater performers. They're the show. Depending on the theme, their performance will differ. Sometimes it consists of them dressing up as bunnies and standing as still as possible as human furniture that you can grow. Other times, after a private dinner party, these devotees will climb on top of the dinner table and carry on with consumption of things that are not food.
What?
They're all eating each other, okay? They're all doing nasty to each other on the dinner table after the dinner party. I do think the health department might take issue with that, but it's not a restaurant establishment, it's a private party, so I guess perhaps it gets a pass. Sometimes the performance will include one of the devotees dressed up as Lady Antoinette, a historical figure, sitting on top of a coffee table doing ungodly, unspeakable things to a champagne bottle that hasn't been popped yet. And the only thing I can think of is that seems really dangerous, because at least you should empty it, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the most important part about Sanctum Club...
That's actually really alarming.
Yeah, I know. And it was on the reality show.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
What is on the reality show? The performances on the reality show?
Lots of stuff was on the reality show.
Okay.
Stephanie, watch this.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of stuff. So, but the most important part about Sanctum Club is that your biggest fears, they tell you, the biggest fears that you have about an intimate club is not going to come true. What is the biggest fear? If you go on Reddit and you look up biggest fear about going to a sex club, an intimate club, everyone is going to be unhygienic and ugly. That's people's biggest fears. What if I go and I'm the hottest one in the room and I'm not even that hot? That's what people...
I don't know if people are gonna be like, oh, what if I go and I'm the hottest? That seems a bit... I don't think everyone's that narcissistic.
We'll say on Reddit, okay? People attending the clubs are scared to go see, God forbid, ugly people. That's terrifying for them.
Sure.
The next fear is that everyone at the better clubs, right? Sometimes you go to an elite club and you're like, okay, well, surely the pool's gonna be better here. And then you go and you find really ugly, old, rich dudes and really hot young girls, and that's it. So there's lots of fears. With Sanctum...
I think it would just be, sure. What she's saying, gross people. I think we should just be saying, like, you're just gonna go there and there's a bunch of gross people. But more so going and doing all this nonsense and then getting diseases.
Club, they say this doesn't happen because even the old ugly rich guys, they get vetted, and you can't be too old and you can't be too ugly. You can never be too rich though. With Sanctum Club, those that have attended say you don't have to worry. I mean, first of all, the women outweigh the men in numbers most of the time, and they're all wearing like expensive bras that cost over $1,000 for one bra, high heels, everybody's fit, everybody's attractive, everybody's wearing a mask. It looks like Cirque du Soleil meets a Victoria's Secret fashion show. People refer to it as, quote, the most glamorous sex party I've ever been to. It's like the movies Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Is it? This is all legal?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No,
A
son.
lot of the devotees are not hired, like they're not paid for performing.
Oh.
So I think there's like legal loopholes.
Oh. So, okay. So I see.
Yeah. Which
So what is everyone doing there?
each other. Yeah.
Oh.
So you pay to get in, you pay to be a member. First of all, you need to buy membership, and that ranges from $30,000 a year to could be $100,000, and then you pay to get into each party.
That's crazy.
And then once you get in, I'm sure that there are concessions like free drinks and free food, but that's not really what people are there for. They're there to do other things. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the prices have changed. I think those were the prices at its height. If I'm not mistaken, on Reddit recently, they had a couple go in for like $1,000 for the couple. It's insane. Yes, it's insane. But they were not paying a whole salary a year
so
to be a member.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Former partygoers would argue. Damon, the original founder of Sanctum, he was so selective about who he let into the doors. It wasn't some cheap sex
Hold
party.
on. I need to see what he was wearing. What are you wearing?
Damon, the
Guess like, what, I don't know, the Eye of Ra over here? Maybe an Eye of Ra there with a heart around it? With the all-seeing eye, I guess. Multiple all-seeing eyes. Can't tell what that is. Looks like the same symbol over here, so another all-seeing eye. Question mark. I can't tell what he has on his chest, like a fake chain that I'm going to just assume is going to be, for all intent and purposes, is an all-seeing eye again, because it looks like it is kind of triangular like that, and then, you know, the eye could be like right here, like going around. So kind of obsessed with the all-seeing eye there, buddy.
Original founder of Sanctum, he was so selective about who he let into the doors. It wasn't some cheap sex party where everybody brings a date and you automatically swap. There's a very big difference between a sex party and a Sanctum party. The founder, Damon, states, I have no desire for a swingers party here, but I do want to open dialogue about how we can come out of our fear of sexuality. So in order to enter, you must send a message on Facebook to Sanctum. At least that's how it started. Eventually they get so big.
Facebook? Like, really? That's it? Just Facebook?
They have their own like curated submissions page. It's just very tedious to get an invite. There's no guarantee. To even pay to be a guest at one of the parties, you have to submit photos of yourself. You have to appear presentable. You have to answer questions such as, what turns you on the most? Now link all of your social media handles so we can vet you. You're supposed to be honest, but you can't help but feel like there's a right answer for every question. Like, what do you mean is the hottest thing I've done? I feel like this is, what do you mean? Now I feel like I'm answering an SAT test. You will be likely given an address to pick up your tickets. It's a lingerie shop in Hollywood. You walk in, you tell them what you're here for. The staff walks to the back and they come out with your invite on a silver platter. You have now wasted approximately 2 business days of energy to get this invite, but maybe it's worth it. And it's all on purpose. Damon, the founder, says it's the opposite of what most club owners want. I absolutely did not want 500 people outside clamoring to get in. I love the puzzle of getting there, but it's deeper than that. It's more meaningful. It's our most
The quote-unquote puzzle. It's not that hard. Come on.
human desires, but beautiful. The owner calls it, quote, spiritual and erotic utopia, where people of like minds and desires can have as much intimate deeds and romance as humanly possible in as many different ways as the imagination can invent. One former performer at the club says about the founder, he is like the modern day sex Jesus. I kind of feel like he sacrificed himself for the greater good of creating a culture for people that was needed, especially in a city like Los Angeles. I think that's why they call it
Sacrificed? Question mark. Is this guy dead or in jail? Like, what do you mean he sacrificed?
like half pagan sex club, so. Esquire states about one party's guest list. Among those confirmed are a man who owns multiple hotels in New York City, a billionaire from Moscow, several wealthy couples who have been married for more than 20 years, the producer of a number of well-known television shows, an actress with a reputable IMDb page, the 21-year-old son of a movie producer, international models, and a couple opening a big new store near Rodeo Drive. According to Business Insider, they state that the alleged celebrity guests at events include Gwyneth Paltrow and the founder of Goop. Yeah,
Goop?
and-
They just name dropped?
yeah, but they said
Goop.
allegedly, and Business Insider said it, and they have a lot more money, so go sue them first, right? So
What?
even the devotees are handpicked with strict guidelines. It's not just
Were we saying like Gwyneth Paltrow went to this place? Is that what we're saying? I mean, that kind of makes sense. She's doing some weird stuff with Goop, if you know what Goop is. Question mark. So I guess that makes sense if she's been at one of these places before.
just about being
If that's what we're saying.
One woman was picked on the spot because, quote, one woman said to me, I want to perform at Sanctum, and then I want to become a politician and then get outed in a sex scandal so that I can point out the hypocrisy in society. And they said, you're in.
How do we know this? She told the
Yeah.
story? Okay.
They do private masquerades, erotic parties, erotic theater, and some of it is very, like, it's not just eyes wide shut. You know how everyone was talking about the Rothschilds parties where they hunt people, where they have like the animal masks?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was thinking the entire time, is these guys.
They kind of recreate those. So you'll have very hot women with giant horse heads, very realistic ones that are not hot and not fun. They look very real. And then they'll have, like Mary Antoinette was doing the deed with her horse, but that horse was a woman who dressed up as a horse with a very realistic horse head.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's elephant heads, and they'll try to stick elephant trunks in places where they probably shouldn't be stuck. They used to do a monthly masquerade in New York, and people will fly in from all over the world for these masquerades. Damon, club owner, says that every Sanctum member has to pass an application process, run background checks. Basic memberships start at $30,000 a year, and they have Dominus members, which is $100,000 a year, and they will tailor bespoke erotic requests for you. And just because you have money doesn't mean you can become a top tier member. They only offer that level of membership to 20 people worldwide. And one of the main
Like, what is the Dominus thing? Like, why does the Dominus have to pay more? Because obviously Dominus is Latin, right? But it's like, what, owner, possessor, question mark, whatever, anything like that, stuff like that. So what does that get you? If your title is like owner / ruler / possessor, or whatever the heck that one was, you just looked it up on Google. What does that entail? You get to do whatever you want. You own everybody at this party, question mark. Can you tell them what to do? What does that mean?
main reasons that we actually know about Sanctum Club on a larger scale is because the founder took to Instagram previously to write, Hunter was a member of Sanctum and I canceled his membership after one party because he was a scumbag.
I'm guessing Hunter Biden.
Hunter who?
Hunter Biden?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that instantly. As soon as I only know one Hunter, it could only be him.
Which Sanctum's former founder, this is after he sold Sanctum. He went online and said Hunter Biden was a former member. Allegedly, this is what he said, not what I said, so don't sue me.
That is what?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Wasn't he doing like explicit stuff like that anyways? So
He says the only reason that he go against his own former club's rules of not outing a member is, quote, posting what I did on my Instagram about Hunter Biden was me letting people know what type of behavior that he exhibited was something that upset me. I knew the consequences could be me not being part of Sanctum anymore, but I was willing to take that risk. Sanctum was bought out by a former member at this point, and they released a prompt statement. Sanctum is a private members club, and they prioritize safety and privacy of our esteemed members above all. Consequently, we neither confirm nor deny the identities of our attendees. Furthermore, we uphold a strict code of conduct, and any infringement leads to a lifetime ban. Please note that Mr. Lawner's membership has been revoked effective immediately.
The previous owner.
Yes, the founder.
When was this? Like, when was it bought
This
out?
was a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
This is recent. I'm assuming there are many of these clubs that exists then, right?
Yes, I mean, there's one in New York that's very famous on TikTok. It's called The Box. It's very different. So Sanctum is different in the sense of like, it's an elite club where everyone is free to explore. The Box is like a bar business club in New York. But I believe there's a few in Europe that a lot of Americans like to try to get into. But I think the way that they're described is they're a bit like raunchier. They're a little bit more on the, don't ask me why I fell into this rabbit hole, but there's so many different variations of clubs. So some of the clubs, they're more on that raunchy shock value sex factor. This is where it's just all about shock. People say it's not even hot. It's just shocking because like you'll just see someone have bodily fluids empty into a bucket and they're just like swinging it around in the club. It's sometimes unhygienic, just shocking, just what the is happening. And then you have maybe the clubs that are more sexually inclined but more artistic, maybe more so like a burlesque club. And then you have like the super hot clubs, like strip clubs. And then you have sex clubs, which are different because you're free to have intimate relations in the establishment or at the party venue. They'll even have beds usually and different types of furniture. And it's set up so that you're encouraged to join in the activity. Most of these clubs in New York, like these public establishments when you're of age, they're not encouraging you to do anything. In fact, you could probably get arrested.
Okay.
It's just like, that's the entertainment. That's the show.
I see.
But Sanctum, there's a show and there's an interactive element.
Okay.
And then there are clubs where there are no shows. Lots in Vegas where there's tons of rooms with tons of mattresses and beds that I think you should probably like do a blue light or a black light, whatever, black light on. And
Black light plus liminal.
they're like swingers clubs. So there's no show, but lots of like-minded people gather and they will do things with each other. So it's like Sanctum without the show.
Right. Okay. I see. That makes sense.
So there's like lots of different variations.
Yep.
And there are an alarming amount of girls on Reddit that were invited to one of these establishments by their boyfriend. And they were not specified on which kind of establishment that they were invited to because they all thought they were going to be like the Box in New York. And then they end up in like a Las Vegas swingers club. So just be very careful.
That's alarming.
Yeah. And there's also lots of Reddit posts of people who have gone to different establishments and had fantastic times, phenomenal times, best times of their lives. Some people write about
No, thank you.
how it saved their marriage, which I don't know, right? But there are also people who say, just beware of something that no one tells you about. There will be very specific smells that you will never be able to unsmell. No matter how high-end a place is, no matter how hygienic a place is, when you have that many people and you have that many bodily fluids and you have that many activities taking place in a closed space, there will be smells and you will get a whiff of that smell and you will never forget it.
In a bad way.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Even one of the journalists that went to the Sanctum Club, one of the parties, says everything was so high-end, so beautiful. Every woman felt like a supermodel. Everybody was hot. Even the guys were hot, and they're all dressed to the nines with these fancy masks. It's a masquerade party. But then they went into the bathroom to fix their lipstick, and someone had just taken a number 2 because money can't buy your way out of digestive issues. So it was very smelly in that one bathroom. That's all they said.
Okay, but that's a different.
Yeah, that's a very different
Just
story.
like a bathroom.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, like every bathroom in existence.
But there's just scents involved in everywhere. That's what they say. But Sanctum has had its own share of lots of scandals. There was a former member of Sanctum that left, and they accused Sanctum of admitting a performer who had an active STD. That became a whole scandal. But
Again, that's what you would be worried about the most at these kind of places, which just don't go.
the
Forget
worst
that.
scandal to come out of Sanctum Club, the worst thing, I don't even think you could call it a scandal, is when one member of the Sanctum Club tried to have another member killed.
Okay, is this the Titania or whatever the heck her name was, trying to put a whack out on her husband? Question mark. Kind of trying to whack her husband, I should say.
Consider an equestrian fantasy. This is the horse show. This is completely unrelated to Sanctum Club. Cavalia, it's Cirque du Soleil meets the horse shows. It's like a blend of horseback riding and doing flips. And it's so much about the horses. The performance is built around the idea that the horses are the main show. Humans are the side plots. So you see this stage and it's enormous. There's water tanks that they have to fill to look like a beach almost, and the horses are galloping through the sand and the water, and there's acrobats flying in the air. There's tight ropes. There's acrobats doing handstands on the horses as they're galloping. One performance, dangerous, one of the most dangerous performances really of Cavalia, includes a rider standing with one foot on one horse, another foot on the other horse, while the horses weave patterns and jump obstacles.
Well, I've seen this before, but like in movies, not in real life.
There's very little margin for error. And, you know, you have to know a horse really well. These types of performers say you have to be able to see when a horse's ear flicks just a little bit. Because even like a little ear flick of the horse, maybe they're getting spooked by something. Maybe they're agitated. Maybe something is uncomfortable in their hoof, like their little hoof. During its peak,
I feel like you just should not be doing this to begin with. Like, just don't do it. Period.
Cavalia was bringing in $40 million a year. But they have since filed for bankruptcy, citing that they are close to $30 million in debt.
I was gonna say, like, their YouTube page had what, 7K subscribers. Like, for some big like events, that is not a lot.
But that was, you know, that's recent in this year. A few years ago, they were at its peak. That's when Tatiana and Mark Remley decide that they're going to take Cavalia down. They want to compete with Cavalia and make their own horse show, but better and probably hotter. Tatiana, with her blonde hair slightly covering her face, she tells a local reporter in San Diego who's reporting on this. There's like this massive red tent, and they find out it's called Valitar, the new horse show that's coming into business soon. She says, when I was around 14, I went to a Russian Kazakh circus. It's different than your regular circuses in the US. It's just stunning. A lot of amazing riding with a rider going under the horse, under the belly at a, fast gallop, just edge of your seat suspension, just intensity. And it hit me. It was just this desire started going into me to want to create a show that's different from anything that's ever been created. I'm so excited. This is my dream come true, and I want to bring this magic to the lives of everyone that will allow me to bring it to them. A lot of people have horses and can't have them. And so by coming here, they live this dream and they can touch them and come close to them and see them and experience the magic.
What year was this?
This was early. This was I believe they closed down in 2019.
How long did they run it for? Like a few years?
2 shows, like 4 shows.
Oof.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was in production for a really long time, but actively in business, and you could go watch their horse show, 4 shows.
Okay.
I was going to say, like, they were trying to put the other one out of business, which the other one did go out of business, I'm guessing, but I guess it definitely wasn't because of them.
The opus of Valitar lies in this gargantuan red tent in the middle of Del Mar, California. It looks like a giant red circus tent for a state fair, but massively bigger. There are also 4 small tents connected to the big one. Collectively, under this tent, it's 45,000 square feet.
Damn.
It's a huge tent. That's bigger than a neighborhood suburban shopping center fit inside of this giant red weatherproof tent held up by this massive steel structure. The tent alone costs over $2.1 million. The plan is this. Mark Remley is a tech entrepreneur. We like some of the software. What the f does he know about horses? Nothing. Mark Remley knows nothing about horses.
The husband.
Yeah. Tatiana.
But what about Tatiana? Is she a horse girl? You know what I mean? She seems like she might be a horse girl.
The wife, Tatiana Remley, has been riding horses ever since she was a kid.
Horse girl. Confirmed.
But is she an equestrian? Is she the best horse rider? Probably not.
You say he's a tech founder? Is he like really loaded, like a billionaire?
No, he's worth about $30 million. He's not a billionaire. His tech corporation was Signal Corp, unrelated to Signal messaging app, but they were a defense contractor.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I guess we don't like some of his software. But anyway, Tatiana has been riding horses ever since she was a kid. And she thinks, I got it. I'm going to do Valitar. I'm going to plan the show. We're going to fly in all of these writers, all of these directors, producers, performers from all over the country and be a part of this exciting mission. You want to see someone do a headstand on a moving horse? You got to come to Valitar. Or you could go to Cavalia, that's like 20 minutes away, but no, come to Valitar. It's better, it's newer, and Tatiana is going to be the face of it. There are billboards put up all over Southern California and randomly in seemingly bizarre places in the West Coast where Valitar is not even present, like Seattle. We'll get there. The billboard shows these 2 edited stallions, black stallions with their manes like in the air, and they're facing in opposite directions. And then Tatiana is in the middle holding a stick. It kind of looks like an AI-generated medieval times type of poster or like a strip club billboard. That's what most people describe it as. The marketing feels a bit seductive. Like, I don't know if this is a family-friendly horse show. I don't know what this is really. But after bringing in a team of producers, directors, they put together this choreographed performance that's ready to...
I don't know if anyone sees what I see. Also, it's the reemergence of the pen, but oof. 22 subscribers, like oof. I mean, it only lasted, what, like 4 shows and not 2, so I mean 13 years ago, Jesus Christ. But I mean, that's a lot of views, I guess, for someone who only has 22 subscribers 13 years ago, but oof.
To go. They have to get housing for all the performers. They have to feed the horses, insurance, a parking lot, administrative work, HR. They got to spend over $20 million on this project. But once they launch in November, they have this whole plan. November and December, they're going to have 45 shows in 2 months. The launch party, the most important night for everybody. The launch party is what sets the tone for the rest of the performances. If I go to a launch party, I'm expecting it to be the vision, the essence of the entire company's mission in one night of good food and hopefully a free drink or 2 because networking is incredibly awkward. Tatiana, I don't know what's happening here. She's holding a belt in one hand. The rest of the belt
around his
tied
neck.
Around her husband Mark's neck, and she's leading him around like a dog. I don't even think you lead a horse around like that, so I didn't...
You can have a horse. I mean, a horse. You can have a rope around a horse's neck, right? Or not like around their neck, but the thing that's attached to their face, I think, can have a rope on it to lead them along, I'm pretty sure. You know, a lead, literally. So she's leading him.
I didn't understand the marketing vision, but the whole launch party...
Yeah, she's leading him.
Walking him around like a dog.
Again, like, you cannot tell me this is not, like, psychopath. Question. I mean, she's dead, so and maybe he's a psychopath, because again, look at his face. He looks evil. Like, he looks like he has a mask over someone who's actually evil. But her, it's just like... Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying, this is like a really evil faces between these two. Like almost, I don't want to go there, but like almost witch-esque evil, it looks like. Like, like the witch caricature.
Okay,
So he's supposed to be like a horse that she's like walking around? Is that what it is?
I don't even think they thought that far. I don't even think it's cohesive marketing. I think that's just what they're into. And everyone was just confused by what's going on.
Okay.
And there are just full forums about lessons that you are not prepared for until you start your own business. And then you just kind of learn it the shitty way. Like the cheapest client is the most expensive client.
Are we about to go into an ad? Would it be? I don't think so. It just sounds like there's a review there. I don't think this is an ad, right?
I don't know what that means, but a lot of business owners were sounding off in the comments like, exactly,
The cheapest client?
is the most expensive client.
That makes sense.
I
Okay.
guess your cheapest client is going to cost you the most money or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
But when you start a business with horses, probably the biggest alarming red flag you'll learn as a business owner is when the horses start going missing. Something is very wrong. One producer of the show Valatar, let's call her Emma, she invested over $25,000 of her own money into Valatar. She moved here with her horses, and after 2 performances, Valatar had 2 performances, opening night and the second performance. There's just a lot that could have been done better. They gather all the performers, producers, directors, all the staff in the massive tent. Maybe not the horses. And I imagine there's this very uplifting, motivating, but realistic conversation of like, let's take a few days off. Let's get some rest. Let's recoup. We did good, but we can do better. Let's think about all the ways that we can fix these little things. We had one customer who said this, another person did this. Obviously, this.
Wow, so many 1s and 2s. 3.2 in general, though. But horses are going missing. Are the horses being stolen to make a profit? Question mark.
Because we had a line of complaints like this. The shows themselves weren't necessarily horrendous, but the turnout was a lot slower than expected. Way slower. A lot of empty seats. I mean, it just made it an uncomfortable opening night. But also, there were just awkward moments in the show they can fix. Nevertheless, everybody gets a few days off, except Emma. She comes back because she's got to feed the horses. The horses don't know what an off day is. They need to eat. And when she goes to the stables, a good chunk of the horses are gone. They're missing. And they're all the Remley couple's personal horses.
I mean, gone in quotations, stolen, unless they just took their own horses. You're saying their horses, so maybe they just took their horses and dipped.
It's weird, but Tatiana is always doing weird things. Emma doesn't even think anything of it. She leaves and then comes back that night to check up on the horses again, and pretty much all the Remley horses are gone. And so she's asking around, and one of the other staffers, who's not really part of the performance, but maybe more so keeping the grounds, they're like, oh yeah, the Remley said something about how they were going to do a photo shoot, so they took all the horses for the photo shoot. Emma checks in the back. They didn't just take the horses. They took their harnesses, their tacks, the cabinets were filled with medicine for the horses, all gone. Emma starts freaking out. She tries calling the Remleys to figure out what's going on, if they know that their horses are missing. And when she gets a response, it's very cold, as if they didn't just spend the past few months of their lives completely intertwined trying to plan this entirely new horse show. She gets a response. The show is being canceled due to poor ticket sales.
Sure, I mean, you could already assume that, but can she just leave $2.1 million worth of tent and steel infrastructure holding the tents up and whatnot just there? It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take my horses and dip and just leave all this junk here? Question mark. Like, is that junk still there out wherever the heck it is in the middle of nowhere, or did it get taken down? Because if it's just left there, I feel like a lot of people are just gonna move in, right? New house, free house.
This is after $20 million invested?
Yes.
That is bizarre.
That's just it. The Remleys don't come back. They take their horses. They leave everybody else's horses, the giant red circus tent. They just leave 26 horses, 21 performers, 5 kids, 1 dog, and 1 cat completely
Why are there kids?
stranded. Nobody was paid. Nobody has money to transport themselves, let alone a horse, safely back to their home. Wow. Nobody even has money to feed the horses because that was supposed to be included. Everyone, for lack of better words, they were just left to starve.
Dang.
So what the hell went wrong? A competitive horse rider who was brought in to help direct the show says, yeah, well, the Remleys had no idea what they were doing about anything. Which is pretty accurate. Cavalia, the Experience Horse Show, just 23 miles away. Why would anyone go to Valatar? But even though they have no clue what they're doing, the director says, it quickly became the Mark and Tatiana show.
I'm guessing this is the guy on the right that's talking?
Except neither of them are horse people.
Under that right, the left, that means they're not the right. The guy on the left is supposed to be quoted
Neither
here?
of them are show people. So what are we doing? They have no clue what they're doing, and that is going to lead them to leave a huge group of people and the rest of the San Diego community who now has to pick up, and they're all volunteering to try and feed the horses and get everybody back home because Del Mar, California is a pretty tight-knit community. They are angry at the Remleys, and they want the Remleys to pay their dues, which ultimately ends with a decapitated horse statue head ending up in the Remley family bed.
Okay, so this is what it looks like.
And when they have that many enemies, it's really hard to say who's after Mark and Tatiana.
Yeah, who the heck even got it in the house to begin with?
Everybody is left high and dry at the Valatar horse show. The horses are left, the performers are left. That's not even figurative. This is like real. The horses are left to starve. One of the biggest problems with the show that a lot of people say in hindsight is that Tatiana sucks at riding horses. And that's mean, right? She's fine. She's mediocre. But she has nowhere near the riding ability that seasoned professionals have. You cannot compare a weekend golfer to someone at the PGA. But Mark and Tatiana want her to be the star of the show. And everybody else has to accommodate her, even if that means they have to lower their skills to make sure that she shines the hardest. I mean, to give you a little bit more context on Tatiana's capabilities, she would often just go out there. So they had 2 shows. Her face is plastered all over the billboards. If I buy a ticket to Valatar, what am I expecting? When this blonde woman comes out on a horse, I'm expecting a somersault in the air, land on a horse, and then do a headstand, eat your lunch off your feet. Like, I'm expecting some sort of, holy cow, this is the most climactic part of this entire performance. This was worth all this money that I could have used for, I don't know, bills, but instead a horse show. Like, I'm getting something out of this, right?
So I'm guessing that all she does is just go out there, ride the horse, and that's it. She just rides around and then dips. Right? Because what else could it possibly be other than just her getting on the horse, riding around in circles like it's NASCAR, and then that's it, right? I'm assuming that's what we're going to hear.
She would just come out on her horse and do a few figure eights. Not on the horse. Like, she's not doing figure eights on the horse. She's just riding the horse like a normal person, and the horse is doing figure eights. It's not like she's walking. Like, the horse is just trotting in a figure eight, and the whole thing is awkward because everybody in the crowd, the customers, they're sitting at the edge of their seat. They're holding their breath. The music is getting more climactic. They're expecting something insane, but then she just disappears. It's said by people who went to the first 2 performances, nobody even knew how to respond. So they were just all looking at the person that they came with, like, what? And clapping, like, what's happening? This caused so much tension that a lot of the seasoned professionals that would have performed to bring in the viewers, they all end up leaving. There are allegations that the couples they also just spent money that didn't make any sense. Some people said that they were willing to spend unreasonable amounts of money on billboard advertisements with Tatiana's face everywhere. They were willing to spend money on Tatiana's costumes, but then when a horse would get injured, they would cheapen out.
So they're trying to do this thing for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Like, she want to be like a celebrity horse rider.
Yeah. I don't even think she wants to be a celebrity horse rider. A mutual friend of theirs would later come out and say her goal in life was to be a housewife, but not the housewife you're thinking. One of the housewives of a major city on the Bravo TV network. Housewives of
like
Orange County.
Real Housewives.
Yeah, the Real Housewives
That's
of Beverly
crazy.
Hills. That was her goal. Yeah.
And she spent $20 million.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be a cheaper way.
I feel like you could have paid, I don't know who is it still the Cohen guy? You could have paid, I feel like bribery could have been a good answer for that one.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah, it's a lot of waste of money. I'm just noticing that this channel has 6.2 million. Was it Stephanie that was like 4 point whatever and then finally got over 5 million? I need to look at like what Stephanie's is. I was like thinking that like I confused. I thought like, oh, it was Rotten Mango at 4.9 and then finally got over to 5, and now out of nowhere she's up to 6, but she probably was already around here to begin with, and I'm thinking of Stephanie's channel.
In the Bravo TV network, I think you could have bribed them for way
Talk about subscribers, by the
less
way.
than $20 million.
Yeah.
No offense.
That's crazy.
Yeah. In another instance, this is very dumb, but apparently Tatiana just shows up one day with a new horse and just casually mentions, oh, I got a new horse.
Okay.
Most people, they know horses, and there really is no price, no value that you can put on a majestic horse's life. But you can, because that is a $30,000 horse. You can. That's a $30,000 horse. They asked her how much she paid for it. $70,000. Again, you can't put a price on life. You can't put a price on a horse, but that's a $30,000 horse.
She got scammed?
Yes, she got scammed $40,000 more. A mutual friend who witnessed this later says the asking price for the horse at the time was $30,000. So she managed to spend $40,000 more than the asking price just because she decided she wanted that horse, and someone saw sucker written on her face, I guess.
Like, isn't she? She's a horse girl who's been a horse girl since a kid. How is she getting duped like this?
Their quote, not mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, is this ad break? Who is it for? Shopify. Do we got a shopify.com/rotten if you want to go ahead and do that. This would be like the perfect time to go to a radical break, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. I'm going to pause, but I don't know if I'm going to come back for a radical break or we're just going to continue. Yeah, shopify.com/rotten for that. Yeah, I figured no break today. We can just go get into it. We're not going to break.
After the fall of Valatar, the Remleys come home one day, and one of the valuable horse statues in the house is left decapitated on their bed. Like I said, it's a threat. At this point,
New York Post. So they invite New York Post to their house to come look at this, or what? Also, are we just assuming that this is a threat, or is this just a publicity stunt by these two?
Mark and Tatiana, they have a lot of enemies, a lot of people who hate them.
So someone broke into their house? One of the...
Yes, forced their way in.
Forced their way in.
And Tatiana claims she knows exactly who did this. She knows exactly who's behind it. It's none other than her own husband, Mark Remley.
Huh?
I
mean,
stereotypes are...
it would make sense if... Not if, but like, it makes sense because like, who's going to get into your house just to put the statue in? That doesn't make any sense. No one's going to be able to do that. So it's one of y'all two, which I was saying is just a publicity stunt, but now she's throwing her husband under the bus, then she's going to try to whack him, but then ends up getting whacked. Where is this going to end up going, right?
Are inherently really bad. But one could argue that Mark and Tatiana don't really care. They kind of fit it. Everyone around them knew it. Mark is rich, worth close to $30 million. Tatiana is very hot. I would say out of couples I've seen in Southern California, there isn't even a massive discrepancy in appearance between the two. Both of them are conventionally attractive. They seemed like they would hit it off.
How old are they?
He's probably like in his 50s. She's probably in her 30s at this point.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Really?
240s.
What is?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's 40. I can see him as 50, at 50 and 40.
They meet at a Starbucks, a chance meeting. Mark falls in love, marries Tatiana, moves her into his $5.5 million house, and now they're on a reality show called Naked Sanctum. It's all about the Sanctum Sex Club. It's a whole season, a documentary following the founder, Damon. He goes around and it shows
Puzzle piece on his robe.
preparing for these sexual erotic events while his entire family life falls apart. It's like riveting and depressing at the same time. The minute things start getting hot, if you will, in the documentary, it cuts to him being like, yeah, so my daughters won't talk to me anymore because they're getting bullied at school because someone found out about my job on Instagram, and yeah, they're bullying them. And I'm like, oh, that's not the right time to put that part in. And then it cuts to him having like a 3-person intimate party with 2 young girls of age, women of age, in his bedroom. And then it's just like a monologue. It cuts to him sitting there being like, I miss my ex-wife.
What?
I think she was my soulmate, but she left me because I chose this life and she didn't. And then it just like cuts to like moaning noises, Marie Antoinette with a champagne bottle, and then it cuts to him being like, I'm actually really lonely. So
Is this just like a desperate plea for attention from this guy? Like he needs help? I feel like the documentary was made to be like, hey, someone help me, please. I'm begging you, help me.
like, okay, I don't know how to feel. Damon is a very
Was this
interesting
like
guy, yeah.
on like a main, like a network or on TV?
You
Showtime.
can watch it on streaming platforms right now, and there's a lot. Damon is a very interesting guy. He says he has a lot of knowledge of the human intimate experience now just from running Sanctum. He says, you know, a lot of husbands, they bring their wives, and watching their wives interact and have intense intimate relations with another person in front of them is hot. Basically, he's talking about cucks. He said,
Yes, the chair, you know. Stephanie's favorite subject, the chair. Again, like Stephanie, she's not gonna live down the allegations that I'm putting onto her of her enjoying chair behavior, or at least reading about it, or whatnot. I'm not saying that her and her husband partake in chair. I'm just saying she talks about the chair way too much, that she's just way too interested in chair activities.
says, the guys I've talked to directly about it say they get turned on seeing their partner turned on. They genuinely don't have jealousy or fear. They know that the woman's coming home with them. They know that. They're not worried, and they really like to see their partner get pleasure from somebody else. That just turns them on. Also, of course, they're with another woman, so they have freedom too. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're swingers. Even for a couple that don't do anything, you know, a guy sees other guys hitting on his wife and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot my wife is hot. I forgot how hot she is. Or like, you know, the same thing in the other direction. It was healthy for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people told me it saved their marriage. But obviously it's not just a great therapeutic experience for married couples. He mentions one time there was this very famous actress who came into an open room just having intense intimate relations with her husband and another guy. And he says, I could tell she was on too much Xanax or something. And it was like it was not good. We had to break it up.
Was it Gwyneth Paltrow? Question mark.
Because it seemed like she was not in her right mind. Which I believe now that he's left Sanctum, if you're interested in following his life ever, he owns a restaurant bar on Sunset Boulevard in LA called Puzzle. It's kind of like Sanctum. There's dancers. But
Oh, that's why he has a dumb puzzle piece on his jacket. I was assuming it had something to do with the other things. We talk about like puzzles, and he's obsessed with puzzles. So I guess that seems to check out.
and you can't have full-blown intimate relations. But one review from someone, I don't think they realize the environment that we're getting into. The review reads, we went to Puzzle last weekend for my birthday. We went to the restaurant and the lady who was attending to us, first of all, was clueless. It was a tiny place, barely 10 tables. Music was no good. The singers were singing and dancing literally on top of our heads. The dancing lady did nothing but take off her clothes with the music and stayed almost naked the whole time. I was confused. Yeah. But in the reality show that aired a few years back, there's a very specific couple on there. A couple shows up under the pseudonyms of Vladimir and his wife, Ilyana. But they get invited to this
What's the point of having pseudonames if you're just showing your face?
exclusive. So Damon is holding a private dinner at his house in the Hollywood Hills, I believe very close to the Playboy Mansion, which would also make it very close to Sean Diddy Combs' house. Here we are again, right? But they will eat, they will watch each other eat, and they will eat, and they will eat other things and watch each other eat other things and then repeat. And not all the steps are obviously involving food. But Vladimir and his wife are seated at the table. These are pseudonyms. It's not Vladimir and Ilyana. It's Mark Remley and Tatiana Remley just sitting there in the flesh, okay? Mark Remley says, what Damon has created here is an opportunity for people to open their minds. Tatiana is just staring lovingly at her husband as if he just discovered quantum physics. She's like nodding, and then she chimes in, I'm all about pushing limits, and we're going to follow Sanctum, and we're going to go where it goes, and just pursue it, and enjoy it, and life, and pursue ourselves, and our love, and our romance, and our sexuality. And I had zero clue what that meant.
Yep.
And once most of the meal is over with, all prepared by this personal chef that had a Michelin star restaurant, I believe, a violinist walks down the steps of the mansion. And in walk 2 girls wearing bunny masks, and they're naked. One has the word touch written on her chest. The other one has eat me written on her chest. So it's very like, the directions are pretty clear. They're climbing onto the table. They just start making out before heading into the final act where they're just both like laying on the dinner table doing things. The violinist later says,
they're showing all of this in the show?
you don't, like, you see lots of nudity, but you don't see explicit, but like you see where the placement of body parts are.
Right,
so you infer.
Right, okay.
Obviously, the violinist is standing there.
Man, this is on Showtime, right? I feel like Showtime wouldn't really care about showing that stuff. Like Showtime and HBO, even Stars, question mark, or at least from what I remember 20 plus years ago, at the turn of the millennium, they would have extracurricular programming that could be watched on those channels that I just named, Stars, Showtime, HBO. I think you had to go to like on demand or something, question mark. Back when there was like on demand channels, not on demand channels, but you had like 1,000 channels on cable, and then from there you could go to those channels, on demand channels, and like search through what they had to watch, question mark. And there could be extracurricular stuff there. So I assume that's just par for the course for them. They don't really care about showing that kind of stuff, question mark. Or maybe like, I guess not explicitly, just corn, I guess.
And she says, I was just trying to focus on playing the violin really well, which obviously takes a little bit of focus. And then it just like cuts to her playing the violin, and her eyes are just staring at the 2 girls on the dinner table, and I'm like, what am I watching? Then another girl comes in with a maid costume with a cake. The 2 original girls, somehow there's like giant carrots put inside the cake. They take out the carrots. You know what they do with carrots.
Yep.
And then they're like, there's icing everywhere. And then at one point, Tatiana gets up on the table and
Yeah, I don't know if you should really be putting food up there.
starts eating a bunny meal.
Like with one of the girls, you were saying?
Yes, and Mark Remley is just admiring his wife visually and physically, and the camera is like behind her, and he's like lifting up her skirt. I don't know. And then she finally gets up and she jokes, I think I look guilty. And he says, you do. The proof is on your mouth, because she has icing on her mouth now. Then it just cuts to them sitting together outside, and Mark Remley says, the entertainment is bar none. And Tatiana looks really serious, as if she is witnessing a profound, enlightening moment. Beautiful. She's like interjecting, beautiful. He says, the quality of the performers, the sexuality that they exude, it just gets you off. It gets you going. It really does. Tatiana says, the bunnies were beautiful. They're sensuous. There's something enticing about their energy, and it draws me to them. I cannot stop myself. Like all the taboos of this world, everything just dissolves in their energy. And then it cuts to one of the bunnies coming over to hug Tatiana, and Mark is just watching as they just start getting unclothed, and we see Tatiana unclothed, and they just start doing a lot of things. And Mark Remley tells the viewers, sex is probably the biggest part of our lives. Yes. Tatiana's gonna say yes. Sex is the center of our universe, and everything we derive around it, and it revolves around it. And in the beginning of our relationship, we weren't into this lifestyle. But as time grew on and our sexuality grew together, and Sanctum made it all that much more amazing. Mark continues, I'm kind of like an adrenaline junkie, actually. I love to take risks, and I love to live life on the edge. I'm drawn to things that push the limits. Tatiana looks at him, and we live life to the fullest every moment we can. I think people have a hard time in this environment, in this country, in this day and time, embracing their sexuality and embracing, being all that you can be. I think they want to embrace it, but they're scared. It's magical. It's amazing. You feel incredible. You feel real. Mark and Tatiana, like I said, Vladimir and Ilyana are their pseudonyms. These are the owners of the failed Valatar horse show.
Do you know if this is before or after, or just happening at the same time?
Happening seems like at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. And the founder...
What, they're really like trying to throw that together while doing this? Oozed?
Sanctum is asked about the couple. Because, he saw them, and then, they make news later, and he says, they seem to be really happy with what was going on. They seemed really happy with each other and really excited about the experience. I mean, they seemed really into it. It's just that the wife, Tatiana, didn't really seem like an authentic character to me. She seemed a little bit fake. I've been doing this a while, and I've been dealing with people like this a long time, and I have a pretty good sense of character at this point. There was something off about her, for sure. But I don't think he saw it. I think he was in love.
I mean, I was saying that the man is putting up a fake face with evil behind it, but again, her face was like... I'm sorry to keep bringing it up. Like both of their faces were like oof, but like hers was like Jesus Christ. She's gonna kill somebody. Though I guess that didn't actually turn out that way.
I don't think he really cared for her. Whatever she was pulling, I don't think he was aware of it. So he's just saying like the way she's describing, like it was beautiful, it was magical. So unfortunately, I couldn't really find the exact episode that they were featured in. So just to be thorough, I watched the whole season, even though they showed up in like episode 3.
Oh, I want to talk about that. Like when Stephanie's doing this research and like reading these books or watching these movies, where is he at that he's not also up to date on what she's saying? Like she's doing all this stuff without him. Question mark. I guess maybe they're not spending 24/7 with each other, but it's just like, where is she finding the time to watch a whole season of this reality TV show without her husband noticing? Question mark.
I don't know why I did that, but I thought they would show up again. I don't know. But all the other very wealthy couples that go on there, they're very blunt about the experience. They're like, yeah, it's hot. Like, it's hot. We do it. It gets us going. And then we're hotter to each other and we like it. It's hot. But then when you see Tatiana, it's very like ethereal and spiritual. And it's like this moment.
Performative, maybe.
All the other couples are like, I just like looking at hot people do hot things. And it makes my husband and wife hotter to me.
I guess they're trying to say that she's just being performative, question mark.
That was about it. So I think that's what he's insinuating. It just felt, and it did feel performative in the sense of like, you do meet some people who are very into like tantric experiences where they think and they genuinely feel it's like an awakening as they're doing certain things with their partner. And it's like this connection that transcends above all in this very physical moment. But that was not the vibe that she was giving.
She's just performative, like doing a lot. Okay.
Yeah. A former business partner of Mark's that also knew Tatiana says, I mean, at one point, Mark was just calling him nonstop. Like he's explaining, he's just calling me nonstop.
What does that mean?
So he used to work with Mark. They had multiple failed business deals. They're not really besties anymore. There's no reason for them to be calling each other. They don't really have a friendship outside of that. But Mark keeps calling him and is like, come to San Diego, let's hang out. And he's like, what are we going to do? Hang out? Like, are you trying to get me into another business venture that's going to fail? And he's like, no, let's just hang out. He's like, I don't know why you keep saying hang out. We're not really friends. He says, quote, eventually I got sick of dealing with Mark and I stopped returning his phone calls. A month later, maybe 2 months later, a mutual friend of ours was at my place and we were just talking about it. And I just brought it up, like this weird thing, like why was Mark Remley bothering me? And he immediately knew the answer. And he just said, oh, Tatiana wants to sleep with you while he watches.
Damn.
So apparently
Oof.
they were trying to get me to come down there and have sex with Tatiana while Mark watched for whatever reason.
Chair activities.
But here's a very odd detail on the show. They go as Vladimir and Ilyana, which seems like a random choice of pseudonyms for the show. And there is a speculation of a intense interest in Russian culture and Russian aesthetics. And no one really knows if Tatiana is even Russian because we don't think Tatiana is her real name. We'll get to it. But it's not random. Tatiana has allegedly stated in the past that she was essayed by her brother. Now, the people she told about this.
Okay, I think this is the abuse that was mentioned at the beginning, question mark.
She told them that her brother's name was Vladimir.
Huh. Okay.
So why would you?
Why would you have your, or well, not have, like, why would you allow your husband to be called Vladimir on the show when you can argue that you have deep-seated trauma from your brother who is also called Vladimir, so the name Vladimir should just always be a trigger? Question mark. Like what?
Choose a pseudonym for your husband that is, first of all, your brother. Even if he didn't assault you, that's a very odd choice.
Right. Or like that's not even her brother's name, right?
Yeah. So it's just
weird connection.
Weird.
Yeah, very off.
And the mutual friend said there's something wrong with her. It's a really weird thing to do. I mean, 100%.
If we want to like psychoanalyze it, like some people who get abused at a young age, you take this with a grain of salt, so don't throw me under the bus. People who get abused at a young age end up being, if you know, they can argue they can shut themselves away and try to stay away from that kind of lifestyle their whole life, but not a lifestyle, but that kind of activities their whole life. But allegedly the opposite might happen, and maybe a lot. Like you get abused at a young age and then you just start having extracurricular activities a lot. Like you become very hyper sexualized, I guess, or whatnot. I don't know. So maybe that's just what it is. Like that happened to her at that young age and it messed her up, and now she has some sort of weird thing that she is doing with her. Like if you get what I'm saying, like maybe there's some sort of weird incestuous stuff that she's into. I don't know. And that's why she approved of her husband calling himself Vlad. I don't know. Again, we're just like trying to psychoanalyze why you would have this happen. And I've just heard that before, or even know people who potentially have had bad things happen to them when they're young and then ended up being like very like hypersexual, probably because of what had happened.
I know that Mark didn't pick the name. That was her idea. Mark's not even that creative to come up with a pseudonym like that. So I'm sure she picked it. And why would she pick that name if that's who molested her? Her brother. Even if he didn't molest her, just her brother's name? Really bizarre. Friends say they're really...
Yeah, I was like too stuck on the, the fact that it could be because of the trauma, but then even if it didn't happen, you're having him name himself your brother. So it's like, oh, you want to do your brother, then even if he didn't mess you up as a child, you just want to do your brother. So that just leads into the incestuous stuff, question mark. But you could like you at least argue like, I mean, at least she's doing that with her husband and not her actual brother, question mark. I mean, you know, question mark.
Relationship was just getting toxic. They had a much healthier relationship in the beginning, aside from the colossal financial failure that was Valatar. At least they were both business oriented. They're always working on something. Is it the best thing in the world? No. Is it something that's going to run them into bankruptcy? Perhaps, but it's something. Eventually, their entire relationship just revolved around sleeping with different people. The Del Mar Fire Department get a phone call.
Okay.
On fire. The entire house is up in flames, and it's a big one. It's $5.5 million of the house burning to the ground. Firefighters get to the scene, put out the fire before it can start spreading. But it's just weird. You can tell that this is not a normally occurring fire. This doesn't even seem like an accident. And like, yes, we are in Southern California, but this doesn't make sense. The bomb and arson unit of the Del Mar Fire Department started investigating the cause of the fire. And the first persons of interest are going to be whoever is at the scene of the crime. That makes sense. And they find 2 women. One of them, interestingly, has 3 guns with her and a ton of ammunition. I mean, technically, she does have every right to be there, though, kind of. Because it's the house that she shares with Mark. What the hell is
Okay, so it's Tatiana.
Remley doing there with guns and ammunition when the house is burning down? Some people just have a lot more targets on their back than others. Some people could go the rest of their lives and no one wants to harm them. And then you have someone like Mark Remley, co-founder of Signal Corp, tech company that lives off of DoD, Department of Defense contracts. They operate, execute large-scale federal IT projects, primarily dealing with high-end government contracts. He was almost a VP there for 20 years, executive VP, chief information officer. The company had an annual sales at its peak surpassing $600 million from the government. I was going to make a smart remark, but I won't. Eventually, he retires. Mark Remley inherits close to $26 million. And that seems to be a mix from his work at Signal when he exits and from his parents passing. So they're all wealthy. And that's when he meets Tatiana at Starbucks. And it's not the worst of the book tropes, but it does feel like something that only happens in a modern contemporary romance in the category of rom-com that doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, that's the vibe it gives. They get married and suddenly Tatiana has a $218,000 engagement ring the first year that they're married, because now Tatiana has to fit into this higher upper class life. He buys her $200,000 worth of clothes.
Yeah. Sure.
$100,000
Yeah.
worth of clothes.
I don't know. Like, clothes are kind of expensive, so I feel like even like if you're not thrifting, right, going thrift stores and trying to find something for like pennies, if you're just trying to buy like a t-shirt, some pants, that's like $50 already? Question mark, potentially. Shoes, another 20, and I'm saying like $20 because a lot of the people out here spending hundreds and hundreds, and like you're absolutely out of your mind. So like $20. So I'm saying $20. I'm trying to be like cheap, just like buying cheap new clothes rather than thrifting, right? So $20 for some shoes, up to $30 for some pants, $20 for a t-shirt. That's a lot of money, like almost $100. That's not including the underwear underneath, accessories. On top of that, so just an outfit now is $100 is like a budget for one outfit, question mark. Again, not thrifting, just buying straight up just new clothes, brand new clothes that are like slightly fashionable and not just like a color tee like with nothing on it, right? And be probably some blue jeans for like $15 or something at Walmart, I don't know. So you can maybe a bit cheaper than that, but I'm being generous with how much it costs, like $100 for like a full head to toe outfit, question mark. And so, I mean, you can only get so many of that. So it's like 1,000 something outfits, 1,600 outfits from however much he spent, or is it way more than that? 16,000 outfits? Yeah, I don't know, but I'm guessing these outfits that he's getting are like thousands of dollars for like one piece of clothing. So it probably actually doesn't end up being that much, depending on how stupidly expensive these clothes are. Anyways, tangent that doesn't mean anything. Waste of time.
Clothes?
Worth of clothes.
Okay.
I saw the clothes.
Okay, it's just like designer on designer on
It's just
designer.
like not a lot of clothes though for clothes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so my tangent was irrelevant because apparently these clothes are costing thousands. So that 100-something thousand did not go very far.
I think it was a lot of lingerie for $200,000. And she moves into the $5.5 million house. They have multiple properties all over San Diego, Hawaii, California. And by
Do they have kids? I don't think we talked about if they have kids or not.
the way, that's not like a weird remark. I think like if you want to, you can wear whatever you want to wear. I was just saying $200,000 is like an unthinkable amount to spend on clothing.
Yeah.
I'm like expecting a house full of clothes. You get the house and the clothes, and they're living this life. She even posts on Facebook in Hawaii making lunch in the kitchen, and you just see this massive rainbow across the island. But there are some things that even money cannot buy, like some things that you can't even pay someone to make you forget, like your ex, because 1,300 miles away from Valatar, the horse show, near Seattle, Washington, on a giant billboard taking up the eyeball real estate of a boring highway where there's really nothing to look at except for the exit signs and maybe a Chick-fil-A sign, maybe an In-N-Out sign. There's just a giant billboard of Tatiana, her blonde hair, next to her 2 beautiful horses. Valatar doesn't really have active plans to do shows in Seattle. They barely have shows in California, but the billboard is there because that is the road that Ken Wilcott, a very wealthy man, Ken is a real estate developer in Seattle, part owner of the NBA Sonics. He's worth close to $40 million. He lives in Seattle and he takes this highway every damn day to get to work. And he has to see his goddamn ex-wife blown up on the side of the road. He might be one of the few people that know a lot about Tatiana, and he's got to look at her every single day.
Are we saying this is why she wasted so much money on advertising and like dumb things to constantly show her face to her ex-husband? Is it to make him jealous? Is it to make him come running back, or is it just to be petty and torture him? Question mark.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So she only did that on that one specific billboard in that city for her ex-husband to look at.
Yeah.
Is it to rub it on his face or okay?
Yeah, they had a very contentious divorce, and he seems like he is the only one that might know a lot about Tatiana. I mean, there's not a lot about her out there. There's so much of her out there, but really not a lot about her out there.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
This is like one of the craziest things.
Her name is probably not even Tatiana. It's speculated that she was born Tanya. Tatiana's parents
Okay, close enough.
have like a Russian fixation. Tatiana perhaps leaned into it. It seems like maybe they had some Russian heritage in their family. Like, I don't know. Her parents are just from Bend, Oregon. Tatiana was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's speculated she was Tanya. They never really went to Russia. They never grew up in Russia. I'm not saying that you have to grow up in Russia to be part of the Russian culture or to celebrate your Russian ancestry. It's just her parents are Vera and Brian, and she just leans into the Russian aesthetic really hard. And then she starts leaning out. I think that's where it gets interesting.
Leaning out as like her look or
Her look, the obsessions that she has. So when she was very into the Russian aesthetic, it was all about how you can be an equestrian in like the Russian way. So every different country has their own style of horse riding. So Russia has a very specific type, and they like specific horses that fit that aesthetic. And you have like the long glowing blonde hair, and then you wear like very swaying fabrics. It's like a very specific look.
She's wearing a tiara there. Titania wearing a tiara. Also, I'm wondering if this is going to be like a multi-parter, because we're now an hour and 4 into this video. There's 27, it goes up to an hour 27, so there's about 20 minutes left. Less than that, it's like 15 because it's sped up. So is that even enough time to figure out what's going on? Because we spent an hour not actually getting to the meat and potatoes of the story. You know, Swinger found dead after hiring a hitman. How are we going to fit all that into 20 minutes, right? I feel like this is a multi-parter kind of story, unless she just squeezes that in at the end.
Country girl horse, which is like you've got the
Though, of course, I mean, Stephanie always says this, right? She spends an hour talking about the lead up to what actually happens, and then spends like 5 minutes talking about what actually happens. So that's just kind of just par for the course.
And then you have like the country girl horse, which is like you've got the tight jeans, you've got the boots, you've got the cowboy hat. Also
She spends time setting the stage for like an hour, is what I mean.
beautiful, but it's like a very different aesthetic.
yeah.
So she just kind of picks and chooses, and some people speculate she picks and chooses depending on what she thinks the guy that she is dating will like.
I see.
Sure.
So if the guy is like, I love me a cowgirl, she will be a cowgirl. If the guy is like, I love like that Eastern European,
Yeah.
you know. But I will say a mutual friend does say something very interesting. They say Tatiana is perhaps a persona that she made up, and maybe it came from childhood trauma, and she just like needs a character that she would become that wasn't tortured. I don't know, but I don't think any of it is real. So that's what the friend says about Tatiana being a character that she plays. Ken Wilcott, Tatiana's ex-husband, says her childhood was really rough. She grew up near Bend, Oregon, but in the rural area. She didn't have any social interactions really with anybody growing up. It sounds like her parents might have been involved in a religious group that might border the loosely defined word of a cult. She wasn't allowed to have traditional medicine or medical care. It's believed that her family fully rejected all forms of any life-saving medicines, any discomfort-alleviating medicines. The way Ken Wilcott saw it and the way he later describes it is he thinks a lot of Tatiana's emotional disruption comes from the fact that she was essentially held captive for 10 years by her parents. They didn't allow her to have any friends. She wasn't even enrolled in school after the 4th grade. Impressively, she got her GED, but it was just a rough life. Before marrying Ken Wilcott, Tatiana had a daughter with a separate guy. She marries Ken, has a son with him, and they are married for a total of 11 months. And
Okay, so she has 2 kids not with the main guy, right?
not being simple because their divorce is very, very messy. Ken alleges that Tatiana misused his finances. More specifically, he gave Tatiana a card to use to purchase clothes. She would buy the clothes with his credit card and then return the clothes and then ask for cash for the return instead of for returning it back to the card. Which I feel like that's impressive. And I feel like as a husband, you should support that, because why are you okay with her spending the money on clothes unless she's spending the cash on something else? I don't know.
Like, yeah, but why would she do that? She's clearly scamming. Not scamming, but like, what is she trying to do with that? I mean, I could try to create a scenario off of that. Like, she goes, buys the clothes with his card, returns them immediately for cash, and then puts that cash into a bank account that only she can access. So she's specifically just like stealing money over time. That's all I could think of. I guess off the top of my head is like, why would you do that? Because you can just buy whatever you want with a card, unless you want the cash to save and just like slowly milk the guy dry and then leave, maybe. Because you steal all this money from him this way, then you divorce and take another half. So you've already been like stealing money the whole time instead of just having, like, you know, dumb clothes. You're slowly funneling money into an account that he has no access to, and then stealing half on top of that to make you even more richer. Rather than just taking the half, you get it half plus.
You would think that a millionaire would be impressed by her financial ability to think ahead, but no, he's
Think ahead. I don't... What? Buying clothes and then immediately returning them for money?
very upset. He also accused Tatiana of being inattentive to their son, who was born with extra support needs, and that's when they separate. He says that he wasn't going to send her $9,000 a month to care for their son because she's using it fully on herself. She's not using it on their son, so he wants full custody of the son, and he wants to stop paying her child support.
Sure.
He also just overall disagrees with the way that she's living her life, so ultimately, he ends up with full custody, but this is where things get interesting, and I think this is where lots of people have sympathy for Tatiana. All the guys in her life still like her to some degree because he continues paying child support even though he has full custody out of his own volition. It's not because the judge orders him to.
Okay, so he's just giving her money then. Because it doesn't make any sense. Why should you pay someone child support if you're the one taking care of the kid? That doesn't make a lick of sense. This isn't child support. This is Tatiana support.
Okay.
So just keep this in mind.
Okay.
But some of Tatiana's friends say that she had a strong pattern of going after wealthy guys and then depending on them for her financial needs. But she also seems to have an energy that they seem to love. According to...
How are we supposed to be feeling bad for Tatiana because her ex-husbands keep pampering her? Question mark? Is it just like feel bad for her because all these guys still like her? I don't know. It's just a weird statement, right? Like, we're supposed to feel bad because all her exes still like her and are giving her money and treating her nicely.
The friends, the relationship between Mark and Tatiana Remley is interesting. Technically,
Again, that picture, these evil demons.
on paper, Mark is the one with the power. He's got the substantial resources. But friends say he's like a dog, like a little puppy dog. He's obsessed with Tatiana. Whatever she wants, he's doing it, no questions asked. Mark seems so obsessed with Tatiana, even to the point where he still loves her no matter if they fail at their businesses, lose $20 million, if she frivolously spends money purchasing billboards for her ex-husband, if she goes to intimate parties and has intimate relations with other people in front of him, and even when she tries to have him killed. August 2nd, 2023.
Yeah, why would she do this though? She is like, what? We can ask, like, what did he do to make her want to kill him? Right? I know we should just be like, okay, she tried to kill him, like she's a bad person. But like, what did he do to make her want to do that? Because it doesn't make sense from what we've seen so far. Like they said, he's just a puppy dog. She's giving her everything she wants. Question mark. On top of probably whatever her exes are giving her, like the guy still paying her money despite them not being together, despite him taking care of the kid. He's still funneling her like $9,000 a month, right? So what does she gain from killing him unless it's just to inherit everything? But she literally was already funneling money from an ex when they were together. Probably took half when they divorced, and she's with him getting whatever she wants already on top of whatever fortune she already amassed before getting with him, unless she spent all that. Like, what is she trying to gain? Though I guess it doesn't matter because we're assuming she's dead now, unfortunately. So what was she trying to gain?
There is another chance encounter at Starbucks. At least that's what it feels like. It's a very casual meeting. A guy sitting on the patio with a nice drink. He's wearing a tank top and shorts. It's August, it's hot. And then you have a woman sitting there. At one point, he leans in, says something to the woman before getting up and walking into the Starbucks and entering the restroom. She leans back in her chair, waiting for him, and that is when 4 San Diego police officers pull up in 2 separate vehicles. Tatiana Remley, you are under arrest for trying to hire an undercover officer to kill your husband for $2 million.
What? 2 million. That's the highest.
She put a 2 million hit on him. I mean, if she succeeds and gets all his money, I mean, she's going to have more than 2 million. So 2 million is basically nothing, right?
Yeah, and
for
it's
her.
not $2 million that she has. I mean, perhaps the worst part of all of this is that she would be using Mark Remley's money to kill
Yeah, use 2 million of his money to kill him.
Remley, to get the rest of Mark Remley's money.
Do you know how she did it? Is it just like Googling and...
No, you're gonna, well, I don't want to say that, but you're gonna laugh. She reached out. I mean, they're all like swingers. They're reaching out, they're doing things with each other. She reaches out to a mutual friend of them and is like, hey, can you kill my husband? He's like, let me think about it.
It's crazy.
Call San Diego Police
Oh my
Department.
God. It always happens like this too.
Yeah.
They're just like calling friends and calling someone so randomly.
I don't know who in their life knows anyone that would have any experience with a hitman.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know anybody, right? Like I have no clue. Just I don't think anyone assumes I would know, but I literally don't know anyone who would be able to do this, question mark. The last time we heard this was with the woman, right, who had her husband, or she thinks that her husband had their son killed, right, and was doing inappropriate things with their daughter. That was the one where the son got ran over by a car and then he died from that. It was that story, and she hired a hitman to kill her husband, but the hitman turned out to be a police officer and she got arrested. Have we only seen like women? I think it usually is just women, right, trying to get rid of their husbands.
Okay, so the mutual friend.
I mean, sometimes it obviously is the husband trying to get rid of their wife, but the stories you end up hearing are mostly just wives trying to get rid of their husbands, right? Like maybe the husbands are evil, but I think it usually is like husband trying to put a whack. I keep trying to put a whack, trying to put a hit on the husband, trying to whack their husband. Question mark. So I heard the word whack again recently, and so I wanted to use it after not hearing that word for like who knows how long.
And just call the cops.
Call the cops. And
But like it's with this one is like we haven't seen him do anything bad other than give her everything that she wants. So why does she want to kill him? She argued that they're cheating, but like you're like, wait a minute, they are literally swinging constantly, or we don't know if he's swinging. He's in the chair watching her do stuff. So it's like he has all this money that he throws at you. He's allowing you to have relations with people while he just sits in the chair. You literally asked him to have relations with one of his ex-friends, question mark, and he was going to do it. He was going to allow you to do it. So like, what more is she trying to get out of this? I just need explanations, like why. I mean, we have like 17 minutes left, but
that would have any experience with a hitman.
Yeah. Okay, so the mutual friend just call the cops.
Call the cops and is like, I don't know what to do. Calls Mark and is like, hey, Mark, you better watch out.
Oh.
So then the cops are like, we know what to do. Tell her you know somebody who can do it. Undercover cop. They meet at a Starbucks. Something about Starbucks.
Did they record the body cams? And...
No.
Oh.
Yeah. And so he goes into the restroom. She gets arrested.
So, and you said the friend called Mark as well.
Yeah.
So Mark knew?
Yeah, and Mark actually dates her after she gets out of prison.
okay, so she gets out of prison and, well, what do you mean date? Would they still be married? Did they get a divorce? Like,
Oh.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how did we get here? How did she go from everything that they're doing to like all of a sudden attempt murder? Like,
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you. There is a saying that if you want to live a financially stable life, you don't date someone who treats money like water. Because no matter how much you cup your hands, if
what is going on? Oh, I think the model crashed potentially. You see, it's not moving. I just yep, there it goes. Let me bring that back up. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. We are back.
how did she go from everything that they're doing to like all of a sudden attempt murder? Like,
Oh yeah, let me tell you. There is a saying that if you want to live a financially stable life, you don't date someone who treats money like water. Because no matter how much you cup your hands, if you try to keep water in your hands, the money's going out. You're not gonna be able to cup it. Obviously, this is not towards people who have reasonable bills to pay, and the cost of living is drastically higher than the wages that are being offered in the job market. This is for people that whenever they get extra disposable cash, they buy the most ridiculous thing that they don't even need. And it's not even just them spoiling themselves to feel good about this impending recession and doom and depression. It's like, why did you buy the 12th air fryer of the year? Like, you don't need 12 air fryers. Those are the types of people that it's going to be very difficult to live a financially responsible life. And that might be Tatiana. And Mark acted like he had unlimited water. After the $20 million fail that was Valatar, they open up Rhythm and Power, a cycling studio, like a Soul Cycle. After a year being open, suddenly members get an email that they're going to have random improvements done in the store. So the store's going to close down. They reach
Okay, has he run out of money because he keeps just giving her everything she wants? And she's like, okay, he has no more money, I gotta get rid of him. So I can get the life insurance?
the website, everything is shut down. They go to the store. The studio had a staff of 5 people, and the full year that they were open, they only made $51,000. Then one day, Tatiana wakes up and she spontaneously decides that she's going to be the head of a women's polo team, which cost Mark $500,000 to get the whole team together. They have to buy horses, they have to invest in the team marketing, team shirts, team name, LLC rights. Yeah, and then they enter the San Diego Polo Club, and a few minutes into their very first match, Tatiana falls off the horse, breaks her arm, and quits polo.
Wow.
A mutual friend describes their relationship as he did whatever she said. Didn't matter if it was a good idea, bad idea, made no difference. I mean, he got drug around by her doing what she wanted with no real say in it. He just threw money at whatever it is she wanted to do. He was her dog. People also say that Tatiana has always been, quote, a control freak. She likes to push boundaries, push limits. She's an instigator, and her biggest aspirations were to be the real housewife of insert major city. That was her dream.
Okay, we still have not heard anything bad about this guy. Like, what did he do? Right? Other than being like a dumb little puppy dog, right? What did he do to deserve being, like, having a hit put on him? And we're still like, looking like maybe it was nothing and Tatiana was just evil. Right? They're still like desperately looking for like why would you do this? Other than for the insurance.
And so after all of these business things, Mark Remley files for bankruptcy. And with all of these failed business ventures, they decide that they are going to end their very tumultuous marriage. They are going to get a divorce. Mark Remley files for bankruptcy.
Okay, so because he got bankrupt from all her ventures, she's going to divorce him.
They file for the divorce, and then Tatiana decides, I actually think I'm just going to kill him instead.
What's up? Where's that come from?
She was not getting enough financial support from him, and I think if he died, perhaps
insurance.
There was still money left that would go to her.
You think it was a money?
Well, I'm assuming like life insurance, like life insurance fraud, right? I would assume it's going to be that.
Yes, because even in the divorce filings, her lawyer complains about how she was living off of $50,000 a month. That's her allowance when they were married, and he's cutting it.
What do you mean $50,000 allowance? Can I have Mark? Hello, can I have $50,000 allowance, please? Mark, please.
Down to $12,000 to $15,000 a month.
I was waiting for her to say this, like $12,000, Tatiana. You didn't want to live off of a month. Some people make that in a year, Tatiana.
Which is just like an unreasonable amount.
Wow.
So according to the divorce documents, Mark Remley had invested, he still has, I think this is like after the bankruptcy, I don't even know how this works, right? But he still had a portfolio worth about $8.6 million, a bank account with $400,000, and multiple multi-million-dollar properties, vehicles, jewelry, all amounting to be $8.2 million. And so with that, the shit sling.
You just have to sell that stuff, right, to get out of bankruptcy.
Divorce begins. Tatiana claims Mark was not only verbally and physically abusive, that he allegedly put a gun up to her head in front of another employee, and another time he chased her around the house with a knife. According to Tatiana's divorce filings, he stole property from her, he destroyed her property, he's mentally unstable, and after the massive financial colossal failure that was Zalatar, he had a meltdown and he discharged one of his guns inside of their house. And he has
Okay, now is this true or is this made up and she's just lying to try to get sympathy?
cut her off financially, which seems to be like the most contentious point. Tatiana's attorney argues the wife is experiencing extreme financial strain. She is unable to maintain her realistic monthly expenses of just $12,000, much less than what she was accustomed to.
Like, shut up. Like, shut up.
At $50,000, she has no income and does not have the same access to funds and assets that the respondent does. In the divorce, Tatiana is demanding $15,000 a month in spousal support and the use of the Del Mar home, the $5.5 million home, 2 trucks, a horse trailer, an ATV, and a few other pets, including some parrots and some goats. She's like, this
Is that something you can do? Question mark? Like, if you get divorced, you can force the other person to give you essentially an allowance every month, despite not being tied together anymore by a marriage. It's just like, yeah, we're getting divorced and you're going to give me this large sum of money, including like half of your assets, and you're going to pay me an allowance every month for the rest of forever. Like, if that's something you can do, why wouldn't you just marry a bunch of people and then divorce them immediately and then get allowances from all of them and then just be rich forever?
This is what I want in the divorce. But this is what's weird. That's a house that burned down. It's not like fully burned down, but it's pretty wrecked. Why does she want that Del Mar house?
So
I don't know, evidence that she was the one who did it.
fire happened. I'm confusing with the
Yes, okay. So all of their business failures happen.
Yep.
And then the fire happens, and then she very quickly is like, I'm going to hire someone to kill him. And
Wait,
all of this.
where's the gun and the ammos and all that came from? Girl with the gun and ammos.
Oh, yes. Okay. So all their failures happen. They decide that they're going to file for divorce. Then the house fire happens. Tatiana is there with a bunch of guns and ammunition. And now the fire department is investigating it for arson. And then she gets arrested for trying to hire a hit on her husband that they're in the process of divorcing right now.
Right. When the fire department came to the house, they got rid of the fire. What do you mean? Like, she's standing in the house holding a gun?
She had them in her possession. And so it gets tricky later, but she does get arrested for this fire later. They don't arrest her that day. They arrest her way later.
They're just investigating what's going on. And then in their record, it's indicated
Okay, so she was the one who committed this for some reason.
Oh, she was in the house and she has possession of these
Yes.
firearms. I see.
And then they don't do anything about it. They just continue investigating. Now, the San Diego Police Department arrest her first for trying to hire a hit on her husband that she's in the middle of getting a divorce from. So all of this is happening. But the most disturbing allegation in the divorce comes out where Tatiana claims throughout their marriage, there has been lots of heinous things that Mark has done to her. But one of the most heinous is that Mark coordinated with his friend. Mark's friend breaks into the house, forces their way into the house, holds Tatiana at gunpoint and essays her while Mark is watching, and then cuts the head off of their horse statue and throws it on the bed.
Okay, so now we have like what we're saying, like him being evil, because I was like, there has to be some sort of thing of like, why would she do this? Unless it's all lies. But do we know her to be a liar? Question mark. Up until this point, like just telling such heinous lies, if they are actual lies. Because obviously the accusations are crazy and are very bad. Is this the kind of guy that he is? Like, I'm not saying he's not, but Stephanie specifically held out for an hour and 17 minutes to finally give us a glimmer of evil that this guy has done? Question mark. But then it's like, is this just for the sake of trying to seem like the victim, or is she just making this stuff up? And again, I still feel like she's the one who put this here, because if we're going on the fact that she's lying, she broke the head and put it in their bedroom.
This is an accusation that comes out during the divorce proceedings. And so she's saying that horsehead statue, that was Mark's doing because he called his friend to come essay me while he just laughed. He laughed and he watched, and then they cut my horse statue's head off and then put it in the bed like a threat from the movie Godfather, because there's like a scene, but I think it was a real horse head. I mean, a prop for the movie, but like supposed to be real. Again, another mutual friend of theirs does believe that this incident did take place, where someone did force their way into the house and essayed Tatiana. But he says, quote, I think she's the one who orchestrated it, not him. That was totally her. She was always the one trying to get people to do things with her. That was her thing. Mark, I can't imagine Mark. I'd be surprised.
I was saying, like, she has some sort of weird, I try to like get around the word, but some sort of kink, potentially due to trauma, like unresolved trauma. So she might have a kink for this, or like putting her husband in the chair, being what are there? I know there's a way to say this. Is it consensual, unconsensual? No. There's like a weird way of saying that you're approving of being, assaulted, but it's not like you're actually being assaulted. Like you're role playing, right? Of being assaulted. So it's like non-consensual consent. Is that what it is? Or is it the other way around? Consensual non-consent. Something like that. I don't know.
If he has that many friends, but I can't really imagine Mark actually orchestrating that on his own.
This friend is saying this is something that she orchestrated as like a role play type of thing?
Yeah.
Is it her friend is saying this?
I don't know if that's accurate. It just, see, that's why a lot of people have mixed feelings about Tatiana. And even if you take Mark out of the picture, is this somebody who is just very traumatized and is behaving very recklessly?
Yep.
She is victim and perpetrator. Or some people are also like, yeah, but you probably wouldn't say that to a guy who tries to kill his wife. So it's just very complicated, but he believes that Tatiana is the one that orchestrated all of this, and she was always the one wanting to go to these clubs, wanting to do these types of things, wanting to get intimate with other people. That seems to be the assumption and what the mutual friends are saying. Mark has also claimed to a local news outlet that he believes that Tatiana was the one to burn their house down, and maybe that's not even the only time that she allegedly took measures to harm Mark. There were reports that the day before Tatiana was arrested, Mark had no idea that she was... I guess he knew, he had a heads up that she might try to kill him, but he didn't know what was happening because he ends up running to his neighbor's house, banging on the door, screaming that he's having a seizure. Neighbor said Mark looked horrendous. I mean, this guy is 57, he looked 77. That's how bad he looked. Neighbor calls the police, Mark is taken to the hospital.
When was this?
This is the day before she's arrested at that Starbucks. So some people think that she tried to poison him before and then she...
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Like, what did she use, though, to apparently make him look so much older than he actually was because of whatever was happening to him? Wouldn't the hospital be like, yeah, this is what happened to you? Wouldn't there be like papers saying, yeah, you got poisoned?
He got arrested the next day? I don't know. That's all speculation, but this is just something happened the day before the arrest.
Before we go there,
Yes.
about the fire. You're saying the fire, people think she tried to kill him with the fire.
Yeah.
So it wasn't for insurance or anything else.
Yeah.
What?
And then she, in the divorce, wants to like stay in that house. And so people thought that was weird. So maybe there's some sort of evidence.
Yeah, because that's what I said earlier. There's evidence in the house. Like, I don't know if I went too deep into that. I'm pretty sure I said there's evidence in the house. That's why she wants it. But
Of arson that she thinks if she's in the house, she's allowed to be on the property, only she's allowed there, she could dispose of or get rid of or control the investigation in some way, was the belief. And then the day before she's arrested, he's like running down the street screaming, I'm having a seizure, and he just looks so rough. That could be
yeah, but does any of this stuff even matter, though, if she's dead?
unrelated or it could be completely related. And then the next day, she gets arrested. December 18th, 2025. So this is after all
Okay, so literally a few months ago. She was still alive up until a few months ago, potentially.
of this.
This is a few months ago.
Yeah, this is after their divorce is finalized. This is after she gets out of prison for trying to kill her husband. Yeah, we're gonna get into how much time she served. In the middle of San Diego's Little Italy neighborhood, outside of a bar, Tatiana Remley, who served her jail time for trying to get Mark killed. She's a free woman, and she is laying on the curb now with a gunshot wound to her head.
Okay, so I'm going to say Mark did this, because that is highly specific.
She's dead. 2 years before her death, she had pled guilty to solicitation to commit murder and a firearm charge. She was initially facing 9 years in prison for the little Starbucks meetup and trying to kill Mark. However, she's ultimately sentenced to 4 years in prison, but she only ends up serving 1 year before being released. She gets out after 1 year, and when she gets out, she dates Mark here and there, starts dating other guys, and there are a few changes in her life. She kind of starts leaning more into that country girl scene, and she starts posting really intense things on Facebook about how life is about what you make it, and quote, maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who did you wrong, but you just breathe, walk away, and let life take care of them. Which some people think maybe there was a lot of trauma that she endured in previous relationships. Like, it just, no one really can understand what happened. Like, it's hard to pinpoint directly if she is a victim turned perpetrator or if she's just a straight perpetrator all the way through. So she switches from like the more fashion-centered equestrian aesthetic to country girl, horses, bikes, trailers, snakes, like that kind of vibe. She posts quotes like, everybody wants to be a country girl until the hay wagon rolls up and it's time to start stacking. And a lot of netizens are just confused at the time, like, how did she only get 1 year for arranging to kill her husband? And they all commented, California judges are insane. Which,
I mean, just, yeah. What was she going to say?
I would have to agree with that sentiment because court documents state that Tatiana was very thorough about how she wanted Mark to be decapitated, how she wanted
What the
Mark
heck?
to be disposed of, how she had all this cash saved up. I mean, she had a
She got incredible detail, man. Like, oh my god. I mean, just don't live in California, man. Just to go there, like, let it chip off of America and then sink into the ocean, right? Question mark. I'm slightly playing around, right? Isn't that like something that is going to happen? Like, people are worried about. Like, it will eventually detach itself from America and just continue going off into the ocean until, I don't know, I guess we end up back in Pangea and everything's connected again in a million years or something. Anyways, though, I forgot what I was going to say now after going off of that. That's a stupid tangent. Oh yeah, the thing of her only getting a year for trying to kill somebody. Because we just, what was it in the last, was it the Lazy Masquerade video from the other day? The 4 disturbing whatever. Where a woman, I don't know where this was, because I'm pretty sure anyone who's watching this probably didn't watch that video, because you know, that was a Lazy Masquerade video, and it's like one of the least viewed. Lazy Reactions are one of the least viewed videos that I do for the RAD stuff. But there's a case where a woman opened the door, there's a clown there, clown gives her some balloons, pulls out a gun and kills her. This was a woman, by the way, who did this. And it's speculated that the woman was maybe like a Sancha of the lady who died's husband, and like maybe they worked together to get rid of his wife for some reason. I don't know why. They couldn't, this happened like in the 70s or 80s or something, so they couldn't really convict her of anything. She lives her life for like, what, 20 years, 30, or maybe even more than that, 20, 30, 40 years. Finally, they are able to tie her hair to the crime scene because of the future, better technology. She goes to jail and she serves like, what, a year or two? I forget how long she served, like a year or two because of good behavior. She's supposed to be in there for like 17 years or something. But for murder, cold-blooded murder, go to someone's house and shoot them in the face, murder. And she gets like a year or two because of good behavior. It's like, hello? She not only got to get away with it for like 40 years or something, but then once she actually does get caught, she gets only a year or two of jail time, and then goes right back to being with the lady she killed husband, living happily ever after. And I think they have like a restaurant or something that they run, or at least she runs. Like, really? So like, there's just like no justice there, and it like feels unsolved. Is what Lazy said. It feels unsolved, and I can kind of agree with that, because the person who did it got almost no punishment. And if the husband was involved, he didn't really get much punishment either. I think he maybe got convicted of some other sort of like money-based nonsense. But he never got convicted for trying to put a hit out on his wife. So it's essentially the same thing. What I was saying about like husbands like trying to kill their wives, more like it's more so the women doing the husband. But if we're assuming that's what happened, like the husband had his side girlfriend. Well, I guess it's his wife, so we could just say girlfriend. The husband had his girlfriend kill his wife so they could be together. Question mark. Again, it's the same thing here. Like they didn't even kill them. I guess they tried to put a hit on them. This girl might have even served more time. Titania might have served more time for attempting to kill her husband than that clown girl had for actually killing another person. It's like, what?
Which I would have to agree with that sentiment, because court documents state that Tatiana was very thorough about how she wanted Mark to be decapitated, how she wanted his body to be disposed of, how she had all this cash saved up. I mean, she had a substantial amount of cash that they found on her, which was probably Mark's cash.
How much?
They just said substantial amount. And she had 3 loaded firearms that were not registered to her name. And maybe she received leniency for how dumb she was in her plot to kill. And no one knows why she just served a year. Nobody knows. But after her release, she did see Mark on and off again until December of 2018. Well, actually, September of 2025, she gets arrested once more. This time for arson for that Del Mar fire in their $5.5 million house.
Oh, because like they actually figured out that she did it.
She's actually awaiting trial. She pled not guilty. So she gets arrested in September of 2025. December of 2025, she's out in Little Italy. She FaceTimes Mark, her ex-husband, in the bathroom of a bar. And she's complaining about the guy that she's with. And he's like, well, if you're really uncomfortable, I can call 911 for you. And she's like, no, I got it. Like, it's under control. It's going to be fine. She walks out of the bar and she takes out the gun from her purse, fires it once outside in the air, and then the second shot, she passes away.
What? So she does it to herself. What? I'm so confused.
What?
Yes, it's a very public.
So it was like it's in front of a store?
It's just like in the middle of Little Italy. There were a few witnesses who saw and witnessed the whole thing. And usually when people do things like that in public, it's like a last cry for help. It's almost like a lot of psychologists have said, it's like, do you see how much pain I'm in? And I will say that she was high risk for this type of incident, considering she was facing substantial social, legal, financial repercussions in life.
Sure.
But I don't know. I think it's really hard to say. I think people have very strange mixed feelings for Tatiana.
I thought it was like someone did this to her. Not she had like one last FaceTime with Mark saying, hey, I can help you by calling the police or something. And so it has nothing to do with what she's about to do. Like that does not make any sense. That's like some sort of like, you could make conspiracies out of that. Like she got mind controlled into doing it or something. Some like MK Ultra stuff. Because like, what do you mean? She FaceTimed Mark one last time, goes outside, shoots one in the air, and then shoots herself. Like what?
I think given the fact that Mark dated her after she got out of prison, her ex-husband Ken Woolcott continued to pay child support even when she didn't have the child for at least an extended period of time out of his own free will. It seems like maybe people close to Tatiana saw something that we probably don't see. Maybe she did have a very unstable childhood and they could see her instability seeping through, but ultimately they thought she was a good person. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, but she died 10 days after her 44th birthday. But some other people think maybe there's actually something worse happening, because there is an unanswered question in all of this. Tatiana's friend, Cheryl, mysteriously died around the time their house caught on fire. And there have been...
What? Or is it like something okay, well, this video is almost over, so are we going to have a part 2 about this mysterious nonsense? Because I was like, how are we going to fit all this in here? But the fact that she did it to herself was like, okay, that kind of shortens that. Like, we don't have... There's no, okay, why did so-and-so do it? Or why did they do it? Or who did it? No, we know she did it to herself. You can argue, like, why did she do it? But I guess it's okay to end on that. But now we're saying, okay, her friend died around this fire. We're trying to say that Tatiana got rid of her friends too, but why she would do that? Why would she do that?
Been rumors in their circle that Tatiana could be involved. Tatiana claimed that her ex-husband Mark was trying to falsely implicate her in her friend Cheryl's suspected murder. But she was due back in court for the arson charge March 3rd of 2026. But she...
What happened to Cheryl?
No one knows. I tried to look into it. There's not much written about her. There's like barely, yeah.
So no part 2.
And now the question is, I guess, who killed Cheryl? Was Tatiana a victim and a perpetrator, or just a perpetrator, or does it even really matter?
And what happened? Did Mark make any statements after this?
No, people think he's in Hawaii. His friend says that's where Mark goes when he runs away, to his house in Hawaii.
When he runs away.
Wow. And ex-husband, nothing? No. Wow.
What are your thoughts? I mean, this was a very bizarre case.
Oh, wow. I mean, I feel like there are just so much more behind closed doors. Even like what we see from the outside is insane.
Yeah.
Right? Their lifestyle already insane. So you can only imagine what's more that's not disclosed.
And then obviously there's questions of course, all of their mutual friends are saying that Tatiana is the one that wanted the lifestyle, but I guess some netizens are also confused of maybe she got into the lifestyle and then was pressured to do things she didn't want to do, or things happened and that led to her wanting people dead. Is that an excuse? No, but I guess there's just so many unanswered questions because it just got so unhinged
Yeah.
so quickly in a way that doesn't necessarily make sense. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next.
Yeah, like it just, a lot of it doesn't make sense, but it seems like one of those stories you're just like never going to know what really happened or what was really going on, because I mean she's gone, so we don't know what was going on through her head this entire time or through her entire life. So yeah, was not ending how I thought it was. Like I think in the back of my mind I was like, is she going to do it to herself? But I was expecting someone else to, but no, it was like she did it, because I was like, okay, she tried to kill her husband, so her husband's going to try to kill her. But again, Stephanie spent a lot of time making it seem like this guy was not a bad guy. So then, just at the very, very end, to try to make it seem like he's a bad guy, it's kind of hard to feel that way. Especially if he was still dating her, like even at the end. I mean, they could just pull up that call, right? Someone saved that call probably, where he was like explicitly saying like, hey, do you want me to call the cops for you to come help you or whatever? So it seemed like he still cared, right? So he definitely had potentially had no hand in that. And all these other exes still helping her. So I just argued like she was just deeply disturbed, potentially from some trauma. And it's just a sad story with no happy ending, question mark. But yep, that is going to be that for today. I don't think I have much else to say about the story that we said everything we were going to say. I mean, obviously these are Rotten Mango videos, so we don't really have any like happy things to be talking about at the end. I mean, we can bring up the rodeo again. Again, stock show and rodeo is the 12th, right? Starts on the 12th, ends on the 28th, I think is what it said. It makes sense because I think that's the end of February. I don't know, maybe if I end up going, I'll try to get pictures or footage if we just want to, try to like not think about what we just watched and talk about something that's technically related, because again, Texas rodeos, horses, that's common over here. So yeah, we can maybe go check that out when it happens. I don't know if I'm gonna go or want to go. I don't really have a way to do stuff like that, record stuff like that, because my phone is like not good for that stuff, because I don't like using my phone when I go out, because if I do anything on my phone, it's going to immediately die, and it's like, okay, now I don't have a phone, so I have to like not touch it and just like not make a call unless it's emergency, because that call is most likely going to kill the phone once it's over. So we can see what I can do. Again, if I even go, because I kind of want to, but it happens every year. I mean, I've been to the rodeo probably several times. We'll see what happens this year. Anyways, yeah, so Kyuuties, thanks for watching. Remember to buy our stickers, or think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We're working on watch time and subscribers, and don't forget we have a throne now as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. Yeah, Kyuuties, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Another do. See ya.